to our right. It's been tough in the playoffs. He's won 3, lost 1. Wade Stevenson to our right. He's 1-0, picking up the win on Friday. The fans, 16,485 in Maple Leaf Gardens, a sellout stand for the playing of the Canadian national anthem. Pauline McGibbon is here. She's just making an entry directly below us. She is the Lieutenant Governor of the province of Ontario. Just played an unusual abbreviation of the God Save the Queen and Oh Canada, but this was consistent with what the Leafs and other Canadian arenas had done for years, abbreviated versions of both anthems before a game.
That stems back a long time ago, Gene. They weren't just too sure which national anthem they wanted to. There was quite a controversy about it. And I guess they said to take the middle of the road, play them both short. Mr. McLeish right there, who did it all the other night, 38 seconds, put the game into overtime, and 2:50 gone into it, give the game winner.
Roya Salming, who's celebrating his 26th birthday tonight. He's only had 2 shots in the 3 games. His line mate Ian Turnbull tops on the Leafs with 13. For the first period, Leafs and Flyers, let's go, Don Earl.
Thank you, Gene Hart. It'll be Bobby Clark between Lonsbury left and Leach right, facing off for the Flyers against Darryl Sittler. He's flanked by Dave Williams and Dave Tiger Williams and Lanny McDonald. Clark with the puck. Skated off by Mike Pellick, and it's controlled by McDonald back in his own zone. Tries to lift it ahead on the right side to Sittler, but it gets by everybody. And icing is waved off as Bob Daly quickly moves it up to Leach on the right wing. Dumps it shallow into the Leaf zone, but it rolls all the way in on Palmetier, and it's tied up for a face-off deep in the Toronto zone.
The Flyers' original coach and now the general manager, Keith Allen, is seated directly across us, and in the center is Flyers president and owner Ed Snyder, and to his right, Mrs. Keith Allen Joyce, and to her right is Mrs. Ed Snyder, as directly below us on the far side, Matt DiPaolo looks on with Flyers coach Fred Shore from behind the Philadelphia bench.
Flyers now come with McLeish, Lonsbury, and Barber playing the left side as Lonsbury has moved up on the front line. George Ferguson on the face-off to the left of Palmetier. Toronto controls as McLeish forechecks on Turnbull behind the net. Puck cleared by everyone. This time it will be icing against the Leafs as Lapointe is the first man back to touch up.
Perhaps, Terry, an early indication that the Leafs are going back to the victory style in Philadelphia as opposed to trying to skate out here.
Wayne Stevenson right there. Actually, they call it Professor. Turning a whale of a game the other night. Coming up here, we're down 2 games. Steph come in and give a stalwart performance for us. And at the other end, young Mike Palmetier, his first NHL competition ever, and he's acquitted himself very, very well, much to our chagrin.
Red Kelly, one of the rare players to make the All-Star team as both a forward and a defenseman at Detroit and here in Toronto in the glory years.
Off the face-off to the right of the Toronto net. Cleared again the length of the ice, but this time icing is waved off as the linesman felt that Lapointe had a play on it. Lapointe broke it up by Earl Thompson. Puck covered right at the short side post by Stevenson as he hugs the post to hold on and tie up play.
Well, the fans here, despite the 2 victories in Philadelphia, are not happy with the throw it out on Hope style.
The Leafs are going into that style again, as you mentioned earlier. Watch Moose DuPont. McKinney will come into your top of your screen right there. Moose sees him coming, looking for a loose puck, and he gives him little shots in. Not this game, McKinney. Nobody's pulling around our goal piece at all tonight.
McLeish against Ferguson to the right of Stevenson. On the face-off, Dornhofer taps it back for Bladen. He's tied down by Jim McKinney. He can't move up the ice with it. Now McLeish tries. Blocked off and tied up and taken down by Ferguson. Ferguson blocked out by Barber. Gets a second try and fires on Stevenson right along the ice. He kicks it aside for Joe Watson. Watson is tied up by McKinney. Puck comes loose for Barber, and he'll move it out. Barber breaking with Dornhofer. Doherty across the line. Takes it. Oh, the shot taken away, and a good defensive move by Earl Thompson. Back comes Salming. Tried to hit McKinney breaking at center ice. Barber to Dornhofer, hops over his stick. Barber gets it back again. Goes to the left side. Skates away from McKinney. Fakes. Tries to get across the line. Stopped there by Salming. Salmi cuts deep into his own zone against the forechecking of Kindrachuk. Clears it aimlessly back to center. But likewise, Bridgman puts it on the stick of Salmi. And now it's Turnbull up the left side of center. Blocked off at the line by Bladen, but we have an offside called against Toronto.
All right, we are getting a little change. Ferguson was out on the previous shift, and now Ashby, who only took a seldom turn the other night, is on the line with Neely and Boutet as Bernie Perrant, now growing a beard back on. Applause from the Flyers player bench far side.
Dorney had a good chance to make this play, and Dorney wasn't sure if he wanted to pass it across to Billy Barber or get his shot away. Didn't have time to do either one. Good back check by number 12, took the puck away on him.
Number 12 is Errol Thompson, who hooked the stick on Dornhofer. Number 21, of course, Salming, who slid along the ice to poke the puck free. Now it's Daly firing from center ice off the Leafs backboard. Palmateer sees Kindrachuk busting in and takes no chances, ties it up for face-off in the circle to his left.
Flyers have done some juggling in the 3 games, but the Leafs have stayed consistently with their 3 lines.
We've got to do just what Orest Kindrachuk did right there, Jim. We've got to dump that puck in tonight. They're standing up their blue line, 4 men across. We've got to dump it in and have 2 men on it very quickly.
Okay, it's Ashby against Kindrachuk. Back to Daly, short side save. Palmateer off the wrist shot by the big count. The puck iced by Pelech, but it goes on Stevenson, which takes off the icing. Now it's Jim Watson. Up to Bridgman, gets by him, controlled by Carlisle. Stopped at the Flyers line by Bridgman, who tried to go back to Jim Watson, who had started out of the zone. Watson crosses to Daly on the right. Tried to go back to Kindrachuk, picked up by Bridgman. Bridgman gets the drive away as he was onside. His shot is wide. Kept in by Daly, but picked off by Carlisle. Now kept in by Kindrachuk. Straight down the pipe off the waffle board of Palmateer. Neely goes behind his own net. Ducks under a check by Selesky. Puck picked up by Carlisle as Ashby breaks. Pass goes to Neely instead. Blocked off the line. No offside is called. A drive by Neely is stopped short side on the stick side of Stevenson as Jim Watson is almost low bridge by Pat Boutet. And Watson glares at him. Selesky with the puck at center. Tries to dump it in for Clark, but the pass was behind him, and Clark is offside. We've got 16:57 to go in the first period, and there's no score.
Introducing the Sports Coupe for 77. And its name is Granada, with 4-speed overdrive, European touches, special suspension, and all at a Granada price. The Sports Coupe for 77, and its name is Granada.
When America needed better wheels, we Ford dealers made the difference.
Back here at Maple Leaf Gardens, Bobby Clark out with Lonsbury and Leach against Sittler, McDonald, and Williams. No score, first 3:03 of the game.
Willard Norris, the linesman, drops the puck. Puck controlled by Lonsbury just outside the Leafs line. Dumps it to the backboard. Palmateer lets it go for Turnbull. He's behind the Toronto net. Turnbull with Clark waiting out front. Hits Sittler coming to center ice. Puck goes aimlessly to the right wing boards. Dumped back into the Toronto zone shallow by Rick Lapointe. Turnbull scoots behind his own net. Tries the right wing side. Kept in by Lonsbury. His Leafs trying to get a shot away. Runs right into the pick, who is Dave Tiger Williams, as the puck is flipped ahead from McDonald. Deflected to the Flyers' backboard. Sittler spins off of DuPont. Gets the puck to McDonald. Challenged by Clark in the Flyers' left wing corner. Feed comes out to Lonsbury. Can't clear out. Is Sittler to Dave Williams. Williams backhands it to the Flyers' backboard, but DuPont is there. DuPont up to Lonsbury. Kept in by Salmi. To Sittler. The drive kicked out by Stevenson. And Leach clears to center ice. Turnbull dumps it back in again. Delay offside against the Leafs is not called as Lapointe gets the puck back to the Toronto backboard. Flyers change on the go. Here's Salming from behind his own net. Up to Williams on the left wing at center. Goes to the right wing corner in the Flyers zone. Joe Watson quickly up to McLeish at center on the left wing. McLeish dumped by Carlisle to Dornhofer. Dornhofer tries to go back to Barber, but it was tipped off the end of his stick by Carlisle. Dornhofer runs smack dab into Darryl Sittler. Puck in the Toronto zone along the Flyers' right wing, now controlled by Pelech as he lifts it to his right wing boards across the way. Joe Watson can't move it, and it's controlled now by Williams inside the Toronto zone. Flips it ahead, knocked down by the glove hand of Bladen at the red line. He dumps right back in again to the left wing corner. Carlisle on it. No score if you've just joined us. First period action from Toronto. McKenna lifts it out of his own zone. Along the near side in the Flyers zone, Bladen goes behind his own net to Watson. Joe Watson up to Barber. Barber lets it go. It will die before it hits the goal line. Icing is waved off. Carlisle led up. He's got it behind his own net. The rookie Randy Carlyle, who's had a fine series for Toronto. Puck lifted to center ice along the far wing by McKinney, but now controlled by Rick McLeish. McLeish back passes to Bill Barber. Barber waits for Dornhofer to get back on side, tries to penetrate, checked off, the puck spins away from McKinney. Carlyle sneaks ahead of him, takes a bump from Dornhofer, comes Barber in the slot. They clog it up, but here comes McKinney out of his own zone along the right wing at center. McKinney across the Flyers line. Left face-off circle. One-handed, we've got a flyer penalty coming up. Bruce Hood called holding against the Flyers. The first power play opportunity of tonight's game goes to Toronto. 14:21 to go in the period. There's no score.
Grabbing Abbott's, grabbing Abbott's, grabbing Abbott's. It's ice cream to go. Grabbing Abbott's, grabbing Abbott's, grabbing Abbott's, grabbing Abbott's, grabbing Abbott's. It's ice cream to go. Twin Pops, Twirl Cups, Fudge Bars, King Cones, Cream Sticks, Superstars.
And only pennies a pop.
Grabbing Abbott's, it's ice cream to go.
Grabbing Abbott's.
Tommy Bladen off for 2 minutes for holding on Jim McKinney, who made a nice play to come into our end zone. McKinney was well out of the play, and Tommy, instead of letting him go, hung on to him. And referee Bruce Hood called Tommy 2 minutes, so the Leafs get the first power play advantage in this game, Don.
And of course, this has been the big problem for the Flyers in all 3 games in the first period, is giving up power play opportunities which the Leafs capitalized on. Selesky gets the loose puck in the Flyer zone, skates it through center, has it knocked off his stick, but picked up by Daly. Daly rags the puck, cuts back toward his own blue line. Cuts back deep inside the zone again, comes to the right wing. Off the right wing boards, back to center ice, gets by Selesky, controlled by Turnbull in the Toronto zone. Goes right side for Salming. Lone forechecker in for the Flyers is Selesky. Daly gets a stick on it, hits Selesky with a pass, but it bounces away from him. McKinney back passes to Turnbull. Kindrachuk now on. Presses Turnbull, but Salming lifts it down the right wing behind the net to the Toronto left wing, but it's cleared out of the zone by Selesky. 1:15 left on Bladen's penalty. McKinney on the right wing at center ice, blocked off by Selesky. Gets the puck back to Jim Watson. Watson from the left to Daly on the right, and he goes the length of the ice, forcing Palmateer to kick it out. Flyers change as Lonsbury comes on with Moose DuPont and Joe Watson. And Bobby Clark. Here comes McDonald across the Flyers line, back to Sittler. The drive deflected wide by Joe Watson. Now it's McDonald behind the Flyers net to Sittler, back to McDonald, left wing corner. Out in the slot, picked out by Clark. Clark breaks with Lonsbury. 40 seconds left on the Bladen penalty. Lonsbury's going to penetrate. Fires wide of Palmateer. As skating behind Palmateer, it moved out with Ross Lonsbury. Clark gets the puck back in his own zone to Joe Watson on the left. He hits the referee Bruce Hood, who couldn't get out of the way in time. And the Leafs, instead of having to go deep for it, pick it up at center ice. Now it's Turnbull. Turnbull sends Sittler across. The drive. Short side save, Stevenson. DuPont clears, but not out. Salming at the right point. Goes down to the right face-off circle to Sittler. Picked out by Lonsbury. Back to McLeish, and he's through center ice. McLeish stops at the Toronto line, goes back to Joe Watson on the Flyers' left wing at center. Lifts it back into the Toronto zone as Bladen is out. And the loose puck is picked up behind the Leafs net by Salming. The Flyers back at full strength. Now it's Sittler out of his own zone to center ice on the right wing to Salming. Salming goes left side for Pellick inside the Flyers line. Throws it in on Stevenson. He covers it with a glove hand to tie up play. With 12:01 to go in the first period, the Flyers have survived the power play advantage, and it's no score.
I came to Midas to get Midasized, and I got the shock of my life. The right shock for my car, absolutely free.
Until April 30th, when you buy 3 of our LifeGuard or SuperGuard or Spring Guard shocks, whichever's right for your car, we'll give you the 4th shock absolutely free.
And if anything ever goes wrong, Midas guarantees to replace their shocks free for as long as you own your car.
So get Midasized before April 30th and get the shock of your life.
Absolutely free.
Good penalty killing by our crew out there, Don. Right here's where Ross Lonsbury runs into Mike Palmateer going behind him. Just sort of nudged him a bit with his stick. Not intentional at all, just sort of dragging his stick behind him, but Palmateer wouldn't like that at all.
I think Salming was forced him into Palmateer as he tried to check him. Now back to live action. Bob Kelly lifting the puck out to center ice right on the stick of Carlyle. Now Bladen goes for it right at the red line. Knocked away from him by Carlisle. Back to retrieve it is Paul Holmgren. Holmgren forced deep behind the net by Ashby. Gets the puck off to Joe Watson. Back to Tom Bladen. Bladen starts out on the right. Pulls up short against the tight checking of Don Ashby. Broken up by Ashby, but picked up by Joe Watson. And he lifts it down the left wing corner into the Toronto zone as Kinderchuk comes off. Bridgman comes on. Holmgren goes in for the loose puck along with Bob Kelly. Carlisle and Boutet in there. Kelly gets it. Kelly out of the left wing corner. Look out. Rolls it in front. Gets it back again. Loose puck. Holmgren shot. Stopped by Palmatier on a turnaround pivot in the slot. Kept in by Bladen. The drive through a screen is knocked down by Pelican. Ashby ices the puck for Toronto. Good pressure by the Flyers right there.
Flyer fans, 10th anniversary edition of the yearbook is still available with that great first-year nostalgia section. The price, $2 at the Spectrum or $2.50 by mail at Champion Publications. Post Office Box 2429, Philadelphia, the zip 19147. As Wayne Thomas on the far side looks on. Paul Holmgren didn't get a lot of mustard on that spin-around shot as the Leafs caused their own damage by failing to clear in front.
Prime example of good forechecking by Paul Holmgren, Bob Kelly, and Mel Bridgman on that play. We're going to do that all night to the Leafs.
On the face-off as the Flyers now go with McLeish, Dornhofer, and Barber. McLeish goes for the loose puck behind the Toronto net, joined by Dornhofer. We got a four-man pile-up, and McLeish pointing out that Salming tied up the puck with a glove hand, but Bruce Hood allows it, and the face-off will be to Palmatier's left.
So far, we haven't seen Stan Weir, who was taking regular shifts through the first 3 games. He's used Ashby now with Ferguson and Sittler, maybe saving Weir for the second half of the game. As goaltender Wayne Thomas looks on, Mike Palmatier set in the net.
Face-off control by the Leafs. Turnbull sets up behind his own net. Tries to spring Ferguson loose. It'll be icing Toronto as it misses the Flyers' goal crease. DuPont the first one there. And it comes back to the Toronto zone for another face-off.
Next WCA radio game from the Spectrum this Tuesday, April 19th at 7:50 with a pregame show. And the Flyers meet the Leafs in Game 5 in their best-of-7 set. The next TV game is next Thursday night on Channel 29, WTAF-TV and WCAU Radio, April 21 at 8 when the Flyers meet the Leafs in Game 6 of this best-of-7 set.
McLeish against Ferguson again to the left of Palmatier. Gets a shot on goal, does McLeish. Routine save as Palmatier moves it aside for Turnbull. McLeish stays within reasonable distance of the Toronto defenseman, but Turnbull lifts it back to the Flyers' blue line. Daly goes to the left wing boards, carries into the Toronto zone. And it's Turnbull lifting it ahead now, intercepted by Barber. Barber can't get a shot away, and Ferguson steals it right back up to McKinney. Through center ice, across the Flyers line, right wing. Rolls it ahead, but Stevenson steers it to the backboard. Ferguson broken up by Daly, and it's Barber moving it out. Barber on the left wing gets to center ice, hits the red line and drives at long range. Good skate save, Palmatier. Rebounds to Thompson, intercepted by Barber, has trouble finding the handle. Down goes Salming. Barber now realizes he can't control, but does the next best thing, forces a face-off to the right of Mike Palmatier.
Scott Garland, the 24-year-old Regina sophomore, on the far side with a cast, and he's one of the half-dozen Leafs who are out with injuries, along with Claire Alexander and Brian Glennie, and Tracy Pratt is back. He's on the bench next to Boreas Salming, who's celebrating, as we said, birthday number 26 today. Pratt wearing a face mask could be used if needed.
Face off to the right of the Toronto net. Clark now on with Lonsbury and Leach. Sittler on the draw with Clark, and Carlisle moves it to center ice. Dumped is Tom Bladen, but back to cover up the loose puck as Stevenson started out was Jim Watson. Tried to hit Leach coming back down the near wing, but got by him as Pellick now tries to hit McDonald, and it gets by him. And it's icing against Toronto once more.
Leafs appear tight rather than working up as they have done so successfully in 3 games. They look like they're going for the home run bomb all the time, trying to find that man free up the slot or on the right wing to get out on top again.
At a meeting last night, Gene and Coach Fred Sherrill mentioned that he still wants our team to take it to the Leafs. He wants to play the 2-1 system, meaning that he wants to send 2 men in deep on the puck and a 3rd man back in the slot. He'll be the man back to pick up the trailer or else in the slot for the shot on net. So it shows that Freddie's not going to tighten up at all. He's going to stay loose and keep taking it to the Toronto Maple Leafs.
To the right of the Toronto net, Sittler against Clark. Willa Norris, the linesman. They both waved out. I guess the reason for most of these wave outs, Terry, is those sticks are going to be flushed to the ice.
It's what you call linesman discretional call right by them.
On the face-off, Lonsbury lifts the backhander in, and Palmatier kicks it out for Carlisle. Quickly up to center ice. Gets by Darryl Sittler, and that's what was not happening in games 1 and 2. Now it's Clark sending Leach across. Cuts in the off wing. Centering pass, no one home, and it goes to the near side. Picked off by Dave Tiger Williams, just clears to center ice. The backhander by Blade, knocked down by Carlisle. Now it's Lonsbury on the left wing. Lonsbury runs into heavy traffic. Back passes to Clark, but offside was Leach. And with 9:07 to go in the first period, there's no score.
Schaefer's consistently great taste starts with country pure water, flowing down to the Schaefer Brewery in Lehigh Valley. Here, only country pure water is good enough to be Croisen brewed. That's brewing twice. For over 130 years, it's given every Schaefer a smooth, crisp, consistently great taste. Schaefer consistency. Put it to the test. You'll find your last one tastes as good as your first.
Most uneventful first period, 9:07 remaining, and Terry, both clubs now in the clutch part of the playoffs where no one wants to make a mistake.
Face-off outside the Toronto blue line has Clark once more matched up against Darryl Sittler. On the face-off, Clark tries to penetrate, stopped at the line by Dave Williams. A drive from outside by Lonsbury is gloved by Palmateer, and Carlisle controls behind his own net. Goes to the right side for Sittler, trying to break out. He's dumped off the puck by Joe Watson. A good hip check. DuPont lifts it back into the right wing corner. Tiger Williams bumped behind the net by Bobby Clark. And now here's Carlisle quickly up to Sittler at center ice. Sittler across the line, right wing past McDonald. Drives, short side save, a follow-up shot. Two quick saves by Stevenson as the Leafs threaten right there. Joe Watson clears by everyone as Carlisle tried to block it along the boards. It will die before it's icing, and Pellick quickly winds it around near side for Tiger Williams. Up to Sittler, gets by him, the length of the ice, but there'll be no icing. Kindrachuk deep in his own zone. Off the stick of Bridgman to center. Lifted back in again by Boutet. Stevenson sets up DuPont. To Joe Watson on the left wing, starting out. The veteran defenseman hits the red line, goes down to the right side. Behind the Leafs net to the left wing corner. Bridgman checked off the play. Kindrachuk, the trailer, gets a stick on it, but here comes Turnbull with Ashby and Boutet. The long drive has Stevenson going down. The puck rose up and over, hit the glass behind him. Bridgman, wing to wing for Selesky at center. To Jim Watson. Offside was Bridgman on the left wing.
Two things. We thought the Leafs were playing cat and mouse, waiting for the Flyers to make a mistake, and they did and got burned 3-on-2, and Tiger Williams then blew the opportunity when he missed the empty net on the rebound.
Good play by Tiger Williams with Paul Holmgren draped all over top of him. He's still got a good backhand. Steph just got his right pad out, kicked it off with his toe. That's a good second effort by Williams. Nice back checking by Paul Holmgren, and a key save by Wayne Stevens to keep this game at 0-0.
Okay, it's Jim Watson lifting the backhander halfway into the zone, but Borje Salming clears it off his right wing boards, the length of the ice. It's going to be icing Toronto right there.
Well, there's your whole hockey game right there. They're going to dump out. They're going to play cozy, trying to draw the Flyers in like a counterpuncher, wait for Philadelphia to make a mistake and hope they can get the big break.
Mel Bridgman back on the screen right now, and a welcome addition back to our lineup after getting rid of that Charlie horse that he had. He's still not full tilt, but he's gives us added muscle in our lineup, which we can use right now against this club. As we mentioned, Gene, the Toronto club should be a tired club, and the more you bump them, a lot more tired they're going to get as the series goes on.
This is why Red Kelly has, I think, understandably got to go with more fresh changes. Bob Kelly scoops the puck loose to Kindrachuk, tries to turn the corner, but it's picked off by Salming as down he goes, cutting the corner a bit too sharply. Lifts the puck up to center ice on the right wing. Hops by Boutet. Kindrachuk goes for the loose puck, as does Selesky. Now it's Boutet and Jim Watson. Watson goes down, slowing Boutet down, but Ashby's there, and we're going to get a penalty, and a rather chippy one, I feel, against Jim Watson. 7:02 to go in the first period. There's no score.
Come on down and see the bright new things at A&P.
Our prices are competitive, and our sales are always exciting.
Our butchers bring you the finest meat they can.
So come on down and see. We're the big red team at A&P.
This week's special in your A&P meat department, ground beef, 5-pound roll, just 69 cents a pound.
Back here, and it's Boutet who gets the penalty, and they called it tripping, and he was in front of Jimmy Watson, and the only way we could perhaps see that again, and look, I don't know where that one came from.
You got to have those breaks in playoff hockey, Gene, and right now, Jimmy Watson loses his balance right here. He's on his knees. Boutet is going around and moving ahead of him. Right now, he goes down.
Right there.
The stick was there, but Boutet in no way was playing it towards Jimmy at all. In fact, you mentioned just tried to hit him, but we said we'll take the tripping and take the power play right now.
Flyers 3 for 10 against the Leafs.
You get fooled now and again, Terry, and there's one where we were fooled. We thought sure it was against Jimmy Watson and seemed rather difficult to understand. This is even more difficult to understand. Flyers controlling the right wing at center. It's Leach lifting it to the left wing side. McLeish can't keep it in. Leach does. Leach along the left wing boards leads it for Clark. Clark, left face-off circle. McLeish tries to go back to Barber. Hops high in the air. Clark goes back to the left point. Barber through a screen. Tipped wide by Palmatier. Knocked down with the glove hand of Clark. Right face-off circle. Daly to McLeish. Oh, right. That was in. Scores. The first one looked as though it was in. But then Clark made sure the second time that it was in. I guess they're going to give it to Clark because the red light did not go in when McLeish fired in.
Now that one hit the post off McLeish on the near side, trickled out in front, and Clark was there for the rebound to bang it home. Clark's first on the playoffs, and McLeish will get the assist as Bobby set it up originally. So for the first time in the series, the Flyers lead during regulation play, and they get their first goal of the first period. Daly to McLeish, and Clark gets the second shot.
Don, I thought it was showed on you, but we'll take the goal no matter what. Clark gives a 1-0 lead on a power play goal. 6:32 remaining in the first period.
Well, I still say that shot by McLeish was in. Well, with the new nets they've got in the tight twine, and we talked about that before the game the other night, that there could be a situation where a puck could go in and bounce out and you wouldn't even know it. Here's the announcement. Clark, the goal scorer.
All right, Clark, he's 14th in his playoff career. And they gave Leach the assist. I don't see how. That should be from Daly and McLeish.
The Flyers, their fourth power play goal, but here's a breakaway. Thompson, great save, Stevenson. He stole a goal right there. And the puck is clear, but we're going to have a penalty called on the Flyers. I think it's on Jim Watson.
Anytime, Gina, you can outrace Moose DuPont or Jimmy Watson, you deserve it. So 6:12 remaining in the first period. Flyers 1, Toronto nothing.
Girard Bank is always finding ways to help you reach your financial goals. The Big G account is one of the best. You get a complete package of great banking services just for keeping $200 in a Big G 5% savings account. Sure, you can bounce around to every bank in town, but Girard's Big G account can't be beat. For no charge checking, plus all the banking services you'll probably ever need, get the Big G account at Girard. Other banks just don't have it.
All right, DuPont in the playoffs, his fourth penalty minute, second Flyer penalty, and the Leafs' second power play.
Right there, Errol Thompson outraces Moose DuPont and Jimmy Watson. And Coach Shiro tells you, anytime you take a penalty to prevent a goal, it's a good penalty. So that was not bad right there. But Steph still had to come up with a key save on that. Thompson got a good shot away, and Steph very literally just followed the play all the way in, kicked it out with his pad.
Super save right there. Okay, Sittler on the face-off with Kindrachuk to the right of Stevenson, goes to the left wing side. Joe Watson there first, and he lifts it the length of the ice. Flyers lead at 1-0, and Bobby Clark's goal, a fourth power play goal of the series for the Flyers, and for Clark, his first goal of the series. Now it's Dave Tiger Williams through center ice on the left wing, goes wide of Stevenson to the right wing corner. Joe Watson can't clear out. The backhander by Salmon goes behind the net for McDonald. Bladen bumps him, comes back to the left point. Turnbull looks, fires wide short side, hops over the glass and out of play, and we'll have a face-off outside the Flyers line.
Tomorrow morning when you get up, turn to WCAU Radio News 1210. 1210 will get you up and keep you up on everything. News, sports, weather, traffic, business. It's what you need to know when you need to know it. And to know it, WCAU Radio News 1210, your total news and information station.
Okay, back to the action again. The Leafs on a power play as Williams has no shot, so goes down the left wing boards behind the net. Sittler ties up Joe Watson, but the puck comes loose for Bladen. He lifts by Turnbull to center ice, but covering up behind Turnbull was Boreas Salming, who came over from the right side. Salming up to center ice left wing for Williams. Williams across the Flyers line. He's bumped by Tom Bladen. Sittler goes back to the left point man, but Turnbull wasn't there. And it's again Salming covering up. Forechecking for the Flyers, Bill Barbers. We're down to less than a minute, 52 seconds left on Moose DuPont's penalty. Turnbull, right wing pass for McDonald. In for Sittler behind the Flyers net. Sittler left wing corner. Slowed down and tied up by Bladen. Puck comes loose. McDonald and Dornhofer bump. McDonald behind Stevenson. Out to Salming. Salming at the right point. Holds. And now we have a penalty coming up as Williams and Bladen. Now Jim Watson moves in.
I think it's going to be for Stevenson and Williams going at it. And heaven forbid if that's the case, Jimmy Watson might get a third man in.
Depending on what Bruce Hood calls originally, you're right, Gene. If it was Stevenson and Tiger Williams in on it, Jimmy possibly could be called third man in. But in a situation such, there's Williams still now trying to get after Wayne Stevenson. Jimmy Watson, knowing the golden rule in hockey, nobody gets near your goaltender whatsoever, no matter what the situation or what the case is. So Jimmy Watson, no matter what happens, very wisely, the best play possible, moved in to take Tiger Williams away from Wayne Stevenson. This all started in front of the net, Gene. Right there, Wayne Stevenson reaches out, slaps Williams right across the face with his glove, and then Williams retaliated, and Jimmy Watson, taking no chances whatsoever, moved in to help Wayne out. Wayne's moving Tiger Williams out of his crease in front of it while they're setting up for the shots. The fans aren't very happy with this call, so right now we have Williams in the penalty box. And our end of this street we have, is that Moose DuPont in there?
Well, he's in there from his original penalty. Let's see. I think the Flyers are going to have to bump somebody in since it is on Wayne, but it hasn't gone up on the board yet. There it is. Stevenson picks up two. So the only delay was waiting for a Flyer to be designated to go in. And it looks like it's going to be Dornhofer. All right, Williams. Interference on Williams. And 2 minutes on Stevenson for roughing. For Wayne, his first penalties of the playoff. Williams now has 17 total minutes. And the penalties are now 3 of the 5 in the game called to Philadelphia. And it's very important now because the Flyers have to defend 4 against 3 for 32 seconds. That means Salming will be out there with Turnbull, McDonald, and Sittler with an opportunity to tie. As the Flyers got their goal, Clark from McLeish and Leach at 13:28 with Butetov serving a tripping call.
Daryl Sittler standing beside linesman Matt Pavlich while Bobby Clark is over talking to referee Bruce Hood. And the crowd, I think, Gene, are still sticking to your call that they maybe insist that Jimmy Watson third man in, but thankfully and luckily no such call. So 4 against 3 for 32 seconds till Moose comes out of the penalty box. Then it'll be 4 on 4.
Okay, face off to the left of Stevenson as Clark again faces Daryl Sittler. A pair of pretty super centers right there as Matt Pavlich is insisting the sticks get flush in the ice or otherwise we'll wave you out. Drawn straight back to Salming. To McDonald, challenged by Clark. Clark breaks him up and clears the puck the length of the ice. Palmatier slides out to the left side and feeds it ahead for Turnbull starting out. Turnbull back passes for Sittler. He's got clear ice on the right side. Goes back to Turnbull. Cuts inside of Daly, and Daly's going to be going off. It's going to be a trip, although he never really did trip him. But Daly will be going off, and of course his penalty can't start for another 10 seconds.
Well, the Flyers are in deep trouble now. They will start the Daly penalty as soon as DuPont's is over.
Turnbull made a move right at the blue line to get around big Count Daly. The Count sort of shoved one of those big long legs of his out, got a piece of Turnbull with it, and at the same time give him a shove with his hand. Turnbull didn't go fully down, but he went down just enough that referee Bruce Hood calls another tripping penalty against Count Daly. So as we mentioned earlier, 10 seconds to go in Moose DuPont's penalty. Minute and 38 for Stevenson and Tiger Williams, and counts won't start until Moose comes out.
All right, we've had 5 penalties and a goal in the last 3 minutes exactly.
DuPont is signaling to the Flyers bench across the way on to Joe Watson and Bobby Clark, who are on the ice along with Tom Bladen. Face off top of the near circle to our left, which is to the right of Wayne Stevenson as he sets himself for action. Clark against Sittler. DuPont will be back in 10 seconds. That's when Daly's penalty will start. Salming at the left point position. Holds. Goes right side for McDonald. Hop across the blue line, and that'll kill off valuable seconds. DuPont is back. Now it's McDonald across the line to Turnbull on the right side. Broken up by Clark, and Clark clears down the right wing boards. DuPont can't come out until the next stoppage, apparently. Here's Salming to Sittler right wing across the Flyers line. Holds up in the right wing corner, back to Salming at the right point. Back to Sittler, kick save, and a good one by Stevenson. Clark couldn't clear out as he went sprawling, trying to sweep it out to center ice. Sittler out the right wing boards. Left face-off circle, Turnbull. Back to Sittler, to Salming at the right face-off circle. In the slot, Bladen clears, but right on the stick of Sittler, stopped by Stevenson, right in the chest protector. And now it's Turnbull holding along the right wing board. Challenged by Joe Watson, and then Joe backs off, comes to Salming left side, through a screen, tipped in attempt by McDonald. Karams back to Turnbull at the right point. Toronto's best pressure of the game. Blocked by Joe Watson off the stick of Turnbull and out of play. DuPont can come back.
Flyers doing an excellent job, but I think that the Leafs are tight as they're not freewheeling as they did with their power plays in the first couple of games, as they did on Friday night when Turnbull banged that one in the first period to make it 2-0. They're hesitating, and this is the thing that has created problems for the Flyers on their advantages. The hesitation. Remember, they have the extra man out there, and if you continue to move the puck wisely, you've got to find the open man. But they're holding and hesitating, allowing the Flyers box to close up. All right, in 27 seconds, we'll have Williams back and Dornhofer serving Stevenson's penalty. In 59 seconds, Daly will be back.
Off the face-off, leaves control at the Flyers line. Salming almost moved it across the line, goes right side to Turnbull. Tip and attempt, Stevenson, a super save. Cleared out of the slot by Kindrachuk, and he controls behind his own net. Look for an opening and clears between Turnbull and Salming, back to the Toronto backboard. The best penalty killing of the series for the Flyers right here. Salming out of his own zone through center. Williams and Dornhofer are back. The Leafs are at full strength now. Thompson spun off the puck by Joe Watson, and Dornhofer takes a heavy bump from Dave Tiger Williams, but gets the clearing puck all the way back to the Toronto backboard. And out of his own zone comes Salming. Goes right side for Jim McKinney. Gets by Jim Watson. McKinney, right wing corner, in the slot, bounces off the stick of Ferguson. McLeese trying to move it out. He can't do it, but Dornhofer does. And now Daly is out. The Flyers are back full. Salming with a pass. Pumped backwards off his feet by Jim Watson, but clears it behind the Flyers' net. Now it's DuPont. Can't clear out. Salming shot blocked by McLeese in the slot. Loose puck. Daly runs smack into McKinney and takes him down. Here comes Thompson. Short side save by Stevenson. Joe Watson the rebound. Lets it out the stick of McKinney to center ice. Salming blocked off, but we have an offside pass called against the Flyers. Face off just outside the Flyers' blue line.
Good gracious. The Leafs put on heat as Borje Salming goes off, and as each game progresses, he gets wearier and wearier as the demands upon him to double shift, and he's upset. Perhaps he's happier that the Swedish team, for which he played this past fall, defeated Team Canada the other night. 1:46 remaining. That's, of course, in that World Tournament to start in Vienna in May. 1:46 remaining in the first period. The Flyers have put themselves in the heat with 4 of the Game 6 penalties. The Leafs have had 3 power play opportunities, but the Flyers have the 1 goal while Boutet was off for Toronto.
Flyers 1 for 1 in that department. They made that one pay off. Loose puck picked up by Boutet. Rifles it to the Flyers' left wing corner. Stevenson sets up Daly. Quickly winds it up to Selesky in the left wing, breaking out to center with Bridgman. Bridgman sends Leach across. Leach on the backhander. Taken off the shot by Mike Pellick as he takes him into the backboard. Loose puck now retrieved by Ashby. Kept in the zone, however, but Bridgman has it tapped away from him to center ice. Daly back to Bridgman, to Selesky across the line. He's hooked, can't get his shot up, and we have a Toronto penalty coming up, and it's going to be for a hook on Mike Pellick, I believe. And so the Flyers will get their second power play opportunity of tonight's game.
Well, Mike Pellick on the playoffs, his first penalty, and the Leafs' third of the 7 called in the first period by Bruce Hood. As the old cliche, both teams like piano wire out there, taut, and they're not relaxed, and they're making false moves. They're allowing the offense to pressure, and thus they have to cover up with penalties. That time Zaleski penetrated. We had the hook, and it's going to be Carlisle going off, not Pellick. And for Carlisle in the playoffs, he has 18 minutes to lead both teams in that department. Flyers' second power play opportunity with 1:16 left in the period, which in essence means their power play is cut almost in half.
And the Flyers offensively will be going with Clark between McLeish and Leach. Daly right point, Barber left point. To the left of Palmateer, controlled by Salming on the faceoff. Salming can't clear out, kept in by Barber. Now cleared the length of the ice by Earl Thompson. Stevenson sets it up behind his own net. Now feeds to Daly, circling in the far corner left. The big count to center ice with 1 minute left in period number 1. Sends McLeish across the line to Clark in the left wing corner to Leach. Leach tries to throw it out in front, gets it behind the Toronto net. To the right wing corner comes the rifle. Reg Leach tries to back pass, but it's cleared to center ice by Ian Turnbull. Rolls by Barber, shallow in the Flyer zone as he circles to head back up ice to center ice. 35 seconds left in the period. Clark across the line, leaves it for Daly. Daly tries to hit Leach, cutting through the left face-off circle, but it's cleared back to center ice. 28 seconds left, almost stolen by Thompson. McLeish overskates, picked up by Daly. To Barber across the line. Here comes Dornhofer, tried to deflect it in on Palmateer. He had that post guarded, and it's tied up for face-off as we get a whistle. The net did come partially up off its pins.
They're unhappy because Salming took a bump as he covered the puck. Bob the Count Daly, British Columbia, who played in this city with the Toronto Marlboros, was a big favorite, drafted by Vancouver, and then in the major trade to Philadelphia for Larry Goodenough and Jack McIllargy, and affectionately known as the Count because of his habit of wearing his overcoat European style over the shoulders rather than through the sleeves. Not that he puts his body through the sleeves, I guess just the arms. All right, we've got 16 seconds remaining in the period. 1 minute on the Carlisle penalty, 1-0 Philadelphia.
Of course, that penalty will spill over into the second period. Clark off the left wing boards. Shot blocked in front, picked off now by McDonald. Long lead pass intended for Sittler, and there's nothing he can do about it as Clark had him covered, and it's Kindrachuk from behind the Flyers net. Drives a long range at the buzzer, deflected into the crowd by Palmateer at the buzzer, and after the first period of play, the score is the Flyers 1, Toronto 0.
Got some bad news for you, Pop.
Yeah, what?
They're selling sirloin around the corner for 75 cents.
Damn, B, must be plain B.
No, Pop, 100% sirloin.
75 cents?
Yeah, Pop, at Gino's.
The sirloin or Gino's thick and juicy quarter-pound burger that's 100% sirloin. It's a burger even a butcher could love.
What's good today, Frank?
Try the sirloiner.
For us having a very nice 1-0 lead early going in the game, Clarkie, and a lot of nice little plus things are happening to us. Our power play is starting to click. Our penalty killing is starting to kill them off. And just everything, the little things are starting to gel early in this game are going for us. And one of the nicest things we did, Clarkie, was you helped us get that first goal early in the game and finally work from a lead against this club.
Well, it's a little change after the first three, Chris. We were down 2-0 before we hardly get in the darn game. But, well, you know, the goal, McLeish had an empty net at the goalpost. You don't miss those too often. It come right back out to Leach, and then he give her to me. But I think tonight the team decided we're going to throw it in. It was successful for us the last game we come in here and trying to put pressure on. They're going to 4 defensemen. Keep throwing it in and making them work. And you see, they took a couple penalties tonight and, hooking, tripping, and what we have been taking because we haven't been going that hard, and now we're going hard and they're taking the penalty. So, there's a few things we're doing a little better.
You answered the question, Clarkie, that we were asking ourselves up in the booth. Ricky's shot did hit the post and come right back out.
Come right off the goalpost and hit Reggie in the leg, and the goaltender come out and he just sat right there. The net was empty. A gift.
Nice to see number 16 stand there to put it in the open anyway. Clarkie, you made a statement about a week ago. You said that Daryl Sittler is right now the finest centerman in hockey, and to me, coming from, in my estimation, the finest center in hockey, that's quite a compliment. You've been paired off against Daryl the whole series. Red Kelly's had him out there against you. The kind of a hockey player that you're against. When any player such as your esteem gives it to Daryl Sittler, he deserves it.
Well, I think there's nothing that Sittler doesn't do very well, exceptionally well. I mean, he checks, he hits, he's a strong face-off man, he scores umpteen goals, and consistently doing this well. And I think that he's not on that great a hockey team. I mean, he plays with some great people, but their team isn't nearly the team that our hockey team is either. So I think, in my own estimation, he probably was the top centerman in the league this year, but it can change every year. I mean, this year he probably was the top centerman in hockey.
Clarkie, thanks for that quick goal lead for us right now. We'll let you go and join the fellas for a minute. Just go and add to it for the rest of us, will you? Clarkie, thanks, man, for joining us. I'll go back upstairs to the gondola to Gene Hart.
Back here in the gondola, Gene Hart along with Don Earl, 1-0 Philadelphia as Bobby and Terry Crisp informed. The one goal came at 13:28. Clark, although it looked as we had a chance to see the replay about 2 or 3 times, as if McLeish's first shot hit the pipe along the ice against the back triangle of the net and came out to Clark. But academic, as Clarkie was accorded the goal from Leach and McLeish at 13:28 while Boutet was serving a penalty. and it was the first of a series of penalties and goals from the 12:58 to the 15:38 mark. We had 5 penalties, 3 to Philadelphia, 1 goal in that 3.5-minute spell. And the Leafs on a long occasion had a 4 skaters to 3 edge, had some good chances on Wayne Stevenson, but the Flyers, putting on their best penalty killing effort of the playoff series, held them at bay. They still have 44 seconds remaining on a penalty call to the Leafs at the end of the first period to Randy Carlyle, so they'll start the second period with a man advantage, leading 1-0 again. The penalties in the first period, there were 7, 4 to Philadelphia. The Leafs had their most productive shot period of the playoffs, 12, and it was only the second period of 10 in which they outshot the Flyers. The margin was 12-10. So at the end of the first period, Flyers 1, Leafs no score, and our intermission activities will continue after this. Gardens 1-0 Philadelphia. Look through the hockey encyclopedia, and you look under A, you'll come across the name of Alan Keith Courtney, played with the Detroit Red Wings in the mid-40s. Defenseman, played in 1 playoff series, and also is given the nickname of Bingo. He's the Flyers' former coach and current general manager. I'd like to know where that bingo came from.
I don't know where I did myself, Gene. I wasn't much of a hitter, I'll tell you that. I got it as a kid. I don't know how I picked it up, but it was an old hockey player in Toronto here, as a matter of fact, by the name of Bingo Campman, and I guess when you're kids, you take on the names of some of the players in the National Hockey League, and somehow I ended up with the name Bingo.
As you came up here, you said, gee, it's good for a change to break out on top.
Yes, it is. This has been a very tough series for us, and this is the first game we've been able to break out on top, and it feels good for a change to have them chase us rather than us chasing them.
Both clubs look a little shaky, but I think the Leafs are the tighter of the two. I think they have more at stake.
Well, I think so, too. They know that if we can win tonight's game, it's a 2-out-of-3 series again, and of course, we've got the home ice advantage, which up to this point hasn't been very meaningful, but I'd like to have the home ice advantage for the last 3 games, so I think, as you say, it has been a little bit of a tight period, but I was particularly pleased with Wayne Stevenson. I thought he really kept us in there in a couple of fine saves.
All right, now, the Leafs were very, very potent in the first 3 games. Sittler and McDonald. McDonald has been kept pretty well in touch by a guy named Ross Lonsbury.
Yes, Ross, I think, is probably one of the finest checkers in the league, and when he gets the job to do of checking the men, generally they don't have too many scoring opportunities, and he's done a fine job in Lanny McDonald, but he's always dangerous, Lanny, and he shoots the puck well, so that you have to play him very tight, and I hope Ross can continue to do the fine job he has.
We'll be back with Keith Allen after this.
We find it's the dealer that makes the difference, Tom.
I'm Tom Brookshire at your local Ford dealer. What's so different about selling Fords?
Look, I want to sell everyone a Ford. It's my business. But I'll take the time to really help people find the right Ford for their needs. And I give the best buy going to help them swing it financially.
Okay, let's take a look at one of those Fords.
Some wagon makers like Chevrolet have cut down their full-size wagons, making them narrower, shorter, so they hold less. But Ford offers the full-size wagon that's kept its size. LTD.
Ford LTD holds more here. Has more hip and shoulder room for 6 people.
Plus an extra half-ton rated towing capacity over Chevrolet. Ford LTD wagon holds more, hauls more than Chevrolet, but is priced about the same.
I like working on cars. I'm good at it. I'm Ford factory trained.
I got over 20,000 parts. Whatever your Ford needs, I have. If I don't, I'll get it. Pronto.
Good, honest buys backed by quality service and parts. That's where your Ford dealer makes the difference.
A consistently great-tasting beer starts with country pure water, heading for the Schaefer Brewery in Lehigh Valley. Here, only country pure water is good enough to be Kreuzen brewed. That's brewing twice. For over 130 years, it's given every Schaefer a smooth, crisp, consistently great taste. Schaefer consistency. Put it to the test. You'll find your last one tastes as good as your first.
Back here at the Toronto Maple Leaf Gardens, Gene Hart with Don Earl and Terry Crisp, our intermission guest, Flyers general manager Keith Allen. It seems incredible that this is the 10th year.
Yes, it does, Gene. This went very quickly. I hope the next 10 don't go too fast, because we're all getting a little older, you know, but it's been a great 10 years, and it's been great fun, and we've been pretty successful, so I just hope we can do as well the next 10 as we have this.
I'm going to have some fun with you. I remember that first year they said, Keith Allen's Flyers Club never get caught up ice. They're always back there checking, and your answer was?
We weren't fast enough to get placed, Gene. I think that, I don't think we forechecked all year, but I tell you, we we played well in our own end, as you recall, and we had lots of practice doing it because we were never out of it.
You know what I recall? One thing you had going for you, every time the Flyers went into a building for the first time, you would start the hometown boy, Bernie Braun in Montreal. Yeah. And you recall the first game here, Doug Favell, the Flyers were outshot something like 47-15. He won the game 2-1.
He played tremendous, and we always used to have a little fun. That was never in doubt. Never after. But no, both of them played well. Dougie here in Toronto, and Bernie came up always big in Montreal. So it was a fun year.
I'm reminiscing to a very bad time the following year in Detroit, 9-1 Red Wings, and I think that was really the low point of the franchise.
Yeah, we'd been beaten kind of badly a number of times that year. I recall Chicago beat us 12-0, I think, at home, and Red Berenson scored 6 on us in our home ice, and then we walked into Detroit and really got bombed 9-1, and it could have been much worse. And I think that was really probably the low point of our career in the hockey. And there was a lot of talking on the way home. I remember on the plane, but and at the end of that year we come on and won. I think we were undefeated for something like 15 games or something like that, or only lost 1 in 15 to finally make the playoffs and salvage the year somewhat. But it was a struggle that year.
Of course, I remember coming in. Do you recall that night when the wheels weren't down, or they didn't think they were down with a plane landing at the airport, and they said, well, we're going to go in because we can't stay up here?
I remember we had Britt Selby and Bernie Perron, of course, I think were the two worst Flyers we had that first year, and they were white, and we were all a little scared, I think, because I know we went by the tower, and as you say, they told us the wheels weren't down, so we were all a little nervous about that entrance.
Not nervous anymore, are you, tonight?
Yes, I have to admit that I was a little nervous before the game, and still am, really, because I have a lot of respect for this Toronto team, and you know, they're a good young hockey club just starting to really mature, I think, so that we're going to have to play well from here on in this series to beat them.
Our guest has been Keith Allen, the Flyers general manager, and Keith, for being with us, the following gifts.
First intermission guests receive a gift from first.
And it came on a power play goal from Bobby Clark, from Rick McLeish and Reg Leach. And they gave Leach an assist. We're wondering if Bob Daly may ultimately get the change, because he was the one that fed through from the top of the right face-off circle. Unless Leach might have gotten a piece of it around that goal crease action prior to Clark finally jamming it in. Bruce Head, tonight's referee, Matt Pavlich and Willie Norris, the linesman. And for second period play-by-play, let's go Flyers and let's go Gene Hart.
All right, Terry, was there any word downstairs about whether Rick McLeish's shot was in or not?
You call it, Gene, and hit the post, Clark, he said. Come right off the post onto his stick.
Well, I think the replay may show different, but we'll check it out later on.
All right, we go Clark, McLeish, along with Daly, Bladen, and Barber, as the Flyers have 44 seconds remaining on the Carlisle penalty, moving to our left. Out there is Ferguson, along with Salming, Errol Thompson, and Turnbull. Now Clark at the leaf line, through to Barber. Can't get past Ferguson. Now Clark in the corner with Salming, takes the puck away. Holds back to the far point. Bladen goes on the forehand with a drive. Palmetier the save, and slapping at it was Daly. Almost banged it home to the far side. Cleared around the net to the near side by Bladen. Ferguson is there. Slashes but not out. Daly in front of drive. Well wide of the net to the far point on the rebound. Tom Bladen has it. He lets one go wide. Back to the near point. Billy Barber sets it up with the skate. Holds. Lets it go. And it's knocked down in front by Turnbull off the deflection from Ferguson. And away comes Thompson at center ice. Tries to get through Barber. Can't as Clark takes it away. Carlisle is out. Team's at full strength as Turnbull breaks off that pass intended for Daly and sends it back to Ferguson at center ice. Past McLeish at the leaf line. The Flyer line is shot in on Stevenson. The save made, it kicked in front. Bladen can't find it, and it's steered smartly to the near side by Kindrachuk. Skates to the near side. Double team. Gets it past McKenny smartly to McLeish. Rink-wide pass behind Daly. Caroms back into the Flyer zone. McKenny over the line. Taken away by Jimmy Watson and away to McLeish at center to Daly. By himself, fires in the blue line wide of goaltender Palmetier. Deep rebound up on the right wing for the Leafs as they bring Sittler out. Can't handle the puck at the Flyer line. Slapped back at center. Carlisle makes a rush through. They've got Tiger Williams on the far side. Carlisle's pass taken by Moose DuPont. Comes with Kindrachuk over the line. Wants to get past McKenny along the goal line. Hits the side of the net. Follows it right out in front. And nobody's there on the far point, and it slides to center ice. Back on the near side, Jimmy Watson up and over center. Lifts it through past Pellick. Knocked down and carried out by Tiger Williams on the off wing. Skated off by Dornhofer, who plays it through to Lonsbury. Poke check back into the neutral zone by Carlisle, and then cleared smartly down the right wing boards by DuPont behind the Leaf net. As Philadelphia now has out there Lonsbury with Selesky and Bridgman. Now it's up at center ice. Sittler through over the line of Williams. Can't get past DuPont. The puck loose to the left of Stevenson. Bridgman digs it out, winds it around far side. Selesky, forecheck, loses to Williams. Now sounding right out in front. Make that Sittler to McDonald, who couldn't handle it. And it comes back now to Lonsbury, over the line past Pellick. Now joined in front by Zaleski. In, a drive, wide to the long side. Back to the near point, Joe Watson dumps it in on the net. Deflects off Sittler's stick. He picks it up on his own left wing. Past Kelly at center. Up ice for Williams, at the Leaf line, over the line. Now McDonald, a shot on Stevenson. It's in front, and he steered it behind with utter confidence despite the Leafs coming at him. Away on the right wing at center ice is Zaleski from Bridgman. Fires on the deflection to the left of Palmatier. Rebounds out in front. Knocked down behind by Kelly. He's bumped into by Zaleski, who's rammed down hard by Tiger Williams. Carlisle loses the puck to Bridgman along the near side. To the left wing corner for Zaleski. In front, Bridgman's shot. Smothered by Turnbull and cleared up to McDonald. And he looks for Sittler, but goes rink wide looking for Williams, who picks it up at center ice. At the flyer line, goes down behind Stevenson with the puck. Joe Watson around near side for Bob Kelly. Has trouble with it. Is run over by Sittler, who falls, but Kelly gets the puck to center ice. We've played 3:20 into a much higher paced second period. No scoring here. The Flyers lead it 1-0. Joe Watson on the far side. Fails to clear it out. Sittler at the left point. Bounces one wide of Stevenson, who just saw it at the last center. Clayton bumped off by Neely in his own corner. Out to the point to Turnbull. Slapper block. Kept in on the near side. Going right in is Ashby. A shot. Blocked over the top of the net by Bladen. Up along the right wing. Zaleski hawked by Neely. Has the puck deflect past him down along the far wing into the Leaf zone. Here comes Salming roaring up at center ice. At the flyer line. Over the line with Boutet. A drive. Off the top of the net out in front and cleared by Joe Watson. But not out. Lanny McDonald dumps it around behind the net. Far corner to Neely. Neely's got a man in front. Boutet. There's McDonald. Score.
Lanny McDonald, right, Johnny on his spot on that one, Don. Put him around the ledge. Our defenseman couldn't get it. It fell off the ledge behind our net just in time for the Leaf player to pick that puck up. Lanny McDonald, he's done this whole series now, cruising in that slot all alone. Picked it up, walked in, eyeball to eyeball with Wayne Stevenson. And let a good quick wrist shot go that beat Steph. Right there, our defenseman Joey Watson moved over to take the player out. I think Steph might have just got a bit of a piece of that puck, but not enough to stop it on McDonald's shot. Joey Watson moved the man out of the puck was intended for. Lanny McDonald left all alone, puts a high shot over Wayne Stevenson's glove hand to tie this game at 1-1.
And for Lanny McDonald, his 5th goal of the playoffs, along with 6 assists, gives him 11 points to place him number 2 on the Leafs roster in most points. And it comes at 4:03, a brand new hockey game tied at 1.
Here's from Medicine Hat. He's got to be the odds-on choice for the second team right wing behind LaFleur. Well, you can't leave him alone like that, and there's a glaring error. Here come the Leafs again. They're going to explode now, Terry, and the Flyers are just going to have to prepare for a tornado and see if they can't hold off until they get this equilibrium back. Clark in front of his own net, left wings it through on the near side for Jimmy Watson. Bad pass at center looking for Leach and dumped right back into the Flyer zone. Wayne Stevenson well out of his net as it looked like Weir taking his first shift might have had a break. But it's played out on the far side by Lonsbury. Pass Boutet up on the right wing. At center, Leach back across the line. Lonsbury stopped. Following it up is Jimmy Watson. Through into the zone. It's spun off by Carlisle as the puck rolls to the right of Palmatier. Carlisle is dragged down. Neely lets it pass Clark along the far boards to the left of Palmatier. Mike Pellick up at center ice, and it's picked on a 2-on-1 break. Weir with Boutet. Weir in. He's going to have Boutet right there. And great play by Jimmy Watson to break up a protecting centering pass. Jimmy Watson saved the day as the Leafs had a 2-on-1. Now Ross Lonsbury flips it to center ice. With it is Leach. Gives it away to Weir. Weir checked at his own line, but gets past Clark and away to Neely over the line. He's tripped up, and we're going to have another Flyer penalty. Tripped up by Neely, and we have 14:46 remaining second period. The game tied at 1.
What kind of chicken does Geno's have?
That's almost a duplicate penalty, the one that the count took on Turnbull in the first period. Right there, it doesn't look like he touched him at all. He had that leg stuck out there. It looked like Neely went to jump around him to avoid him. Lost his footing and just took a header around it, but nonetheless, referee Bruce Hood calls 2 minutes for tripping on count Daly.
Storm warnings back out to the point to Turnbull. Tries a shot. It's deflected in front to Thompson. His shot cut down by Bailey Barber, and away comes McLeish. Up at center on the left wing boards and drives it down the ice. The Leafs like to go with the Ferguson, McKenny, Thompson line on the first power play shift and then bring out Sittler, McDonald, and Williams when the penalty-killing team may be a bit fatigued. Sounding up at center. Bumps it in behind Stevenson. Leaves it there for DuPont. Gives it away to McKenny on the far wing. Back behind the net. Joe Watson has it blocked off by Ferguson. Gets it up to McLeish, who wings it down the ice almost like a high-life player taking a carom off the side wall. Now Boyer Salming swings out to the right of his net, starts stick handling up to his own line. With Ferguson on his left, he's got Thompson on the near side. Dumps it in, looking for Thompson right out in front. Played by Stevenson in front of the net by the goal line to keep it away from the rebounding and flying Errol Thompson.
Flying is the word for it, because he was really going at top speed as he came around, and Stevenson very alertly tied it up. The Honorable Pauline McGibbon, the Lieutenant Governor of Ontario, occupying her seat right down below us. Her third trip to the Gardens this year to watch Leafs hockey.
These boards in this arena right now, Donna, they got that new Plastilite boarding on it, and the puck will take some funny hops off this board. No matter what angle it's shot in, it won't come out at a true angle a lot of times. So you got to be awful careful when you're playing it off the boards.
Back to Salming at the right point to McDonald, top of the circle. He'll let it go, and Stevenson short side save with the glove as Williams was in front trying to get a piece.
What is it about Wayne Stevenson, Terry? The guy looks as cool as a cucumber in the face of all sorts of pressure that's been thrown at him here in this period.
Just the type of character he is. You don't rattle Steph at all.
Back to Salming again straight away. He'll let one go. Score!
Boyer Salming drilled that one off the faceoff, back to him on the blue line. He moved over to the slot in the middle on the blue line. Had a good slap shot go that Wayne Stevenson never saw going by him whatsoever. Didn't know it was by him until it was in the net. So the Leafs capitalize on a penalty to Bob Daly and go ahead 2-1 in this game on a shot from the blue line by Boyer Salming. Good slap shot right there. Tiger Williams heading for the net. Tommy Bladen trying to move him out. Puck right by Steph before he has a chance to see it. Lots of time to wind up. Nobody interfering with him whatsoever. There it goes right there. A high rising shot over the glove side of Wayne Stevenson.
You'll recall last year on his birthday, he scored on a breakaway against Bernie Parent in the game the Leafs won here 5-4.
So once again, power plays have put us behind the 8 ball in the early going in this game.
And for Toronto, overall, on the power play, that's number 10. Their 10th power play goal of Stanley Cup play this year. Salming from McDonald and Sittler, and Toronto leads.
Up, Jimmy Watson through to Clark, tips it on the near side. We said there was going to be a storm. Well, the Flyers are going to have to try to weather it. Down behind Stevenson, Bob Dalio's out there with Jimmy Watson, and they have Holmgren with Lonsbury and Clark, and the Flyers ice it, and that's just what the call will be. If Rowell gets there first, he doesn't, or he does. Yes, said Matt Pavlich, or it may be an offside.
It's offside as Willard Norris stops at the top of the far circle right. Darryl Sittler claiming that Carlisle got there first, so it should be an icing call, which would be in the center of the face-off circle, but it'll be dropped at the top of the circle as the Flyers send out Clark between Lonsbury and Holmgren, and Joe Watson and Moose DuPont defensively. Ashby on the draw for Toronto.
All right, we have 6:36 gone, and the Flyers have been kept pretty well away from Palmateer. And the advantage they worked so well to achieve in the first period is gone, and once again they find themselves looking up. All right, Ashby out there with Neely and Boutet, Carlisle with Pelech. The Flyers go Leach along with Selesky and Kindrachuk. At the point, Pelech with a drive. Stevenson, the glove save. Goes around far side to Joe Watson, and away DuPont to Kindrachuk at center. Has trouble with it. Now controls again, lifts it into the near corner of the Leaf zone to the right of Palmateer. Pelech in there with Leach. They overrun, centering pass. Right out in front to DuPont. Goes to shoot. There he is. Save. As he was pulled down from behind Leach trying to get the rebound. DuPont had Palmateer hung up the drives. He made a great move past Pelech, who made the big save. Out in front again. Deflected to Joe Watson at the point. Shot. Knocked down by Selesky into the near corner. Tries to go behind the net. Taken off by Carlisle. Winds it around to the far point. DuPont keeps it back into the near corner. Only one there is Boutet. He'll try to get rid of it. Bumped by Selesky. Ashby tries to get it out and fails. As Kindrachuk along the near side gets a standoff and a stoppage of play.
This line has placed good pressure on the Leafs throughout this series, especially in the last couple of games, Terry.
Don Selesky and Pat Boutet having a bit of a shoving match down there, and Moose DuPont clearing out Neely out of the way. Good play by Moose DuPont twice to keep that puck in and was coming around those boards fast. Moose got over, kept it in, and then Don Selesky reversed the play and made some good plays to keep it in. Gene mentioned he had Palmetier hung out to dry and just couldn't get full wood on that one to put us back in this game and tie it at 2-2.
You got to wish maybe on that particular circumstance that Moose shot from the other side.
I think Darryl Sittler's just set a Leafs playoff scoring record with a 16th point, beating a mark set by Tim Horton in 62. That was just flashed up. Jimmy Watson at the left point, closing in at the circle. Drive, and there was nobody there except the mass of bodies deflected to the near side. Bladen a drive, knocked down by Turnbull and iced. And racing after it is Billy Barber. Ferguson tries to get there first, but the Flyer will, and no, they don't. And it's waved off as finally they collided in the corner, and Ferguson did touch up, and now we've got Barber hurt in the corner. And let's see whether they called an icing, but whatever it is, yes, it's going to be an icing, finally.
Billy Barber limping on that play right there, and that's the fault of the linesman right there. Willard Norris, Billy touched that puck when he initially got into the corner. Willard Norris did not catch it quick enough. Then all he saw was a standoff between number 10 for the Leafs, George Ferguson. And right there is Darryl Sittler. As you said, he did tie a Maple Leaf playoff record with 16 points, as you mentioned. Tim Horton, I said before, total points in the playoffs.
Ferguson, Thompson out with McKenny, and they have Turnbull with Salming. McLeish, Barber, Dornhofer back to Bladen at the point. Goes down past Dornhofer, around the horn to the near side to McKenny, and he clears it to center ice. Back to the Flyer line. Tom Bladen challenged by Ferguson. Gets it to Barber, who has trouble at his skates. Almost loses it, then plays up ice in the center, looking for Dornhofer. Picked off by Thompson, who gives it right away to Bladen. Up and over center. Lifts it into the Leaf zone, wide of Palmetier. McKenny's first there for Toronto, wide around his net. Up on the far wing to Thompson. He gives it away. Now McKenny is tied up by Barber. They fight for it along the far boards. McKenny in there, Turnbull in there, along with Bladen and Barber, and the four of them get a standoff. As we have 11:43 remaining second period, 2-1 Toronto.
Now, while it's still hurting, hear this.
Other Flyers hierarchy, watching the game from down below, Joe Cadillac, our publicity director, press relations director, along with Mike Nicolak, Flyers assistant coach. Mike doesn't look too happy right now, Gene.
Sittler, McDonald, and Williams out with Turnbull and Salming. The Flyers go Lonsbury, Leach, and Clark with Daly and DuPont. They try to get it back to Daly, who committed himself for a Leaf break, and the puck slides to center, where Clark plays back to DuPont, who lifts it into the far corner of the Leaf zone. It bounces for Tiger Williams, avoids Clark's check, and comes out on the left wing. He's got McDonald deep up on his left. Over the line, wants to get past Daly. Does. Down into the right wing corner, centering pass. Clark knocks it away from McDonald. It's right at it from the left wing circle, and Stevenson the save as McDonald almost capitalized. Now Daly back up at center ice. The Leafs, if they ever lost their confidence in the game, have gotten it back now as they got those 2 goals in 2:13, but they ice it now, and we get DuPont touching up and a face-off deep in the Toronto end.
This is playoff time, and of course that 10th anniversary edition of the Flyers Yearbook still available, but not too many copies left. So if you want to get in on the collector's item of the year and maybe of the Flyers' career thus far, do so soon. Just chock full of Flyers pictures, especially that nostalgia section of the Flyers' early years. Your price, $2 here at the Spectrum. For mail order, send $2.50 to Champion Publications. They're at Box 2429, Philadelphia 19147.
Bridgman, Kelly, and Holmgren out with Bladen and Joe Watson against Ashby with Boutet and Neely, Turnbull, and Salming. Turnbull around his own right wing for Boutet. It skips past Joe Watson, and here comes Turnbull with Ashby 2-on-1. Turnbull a shot well wide. It was blocked by Bladen. Out to the far point, picked off by Bridgman up to Kelly. Kelly can't get past Boutet. Takes him, comes back the other way. He'll get one. Go off the upper right shoulder of Stevenson into the far corner. Battling for it are 3 Flyers and 2 Leafs, and we'll get a stoppage of play.
Ashby on 2 successive forays into that Flyers left wing corner. First Holmgren barreled into him, that time Bladen, and he's slow to get to his feet.
Backup goaltender tonight for the Flyers, Bernie Perron, and Bernie informed me tonight that he has a new name by the younger bunch of our defensive corps. They call him Pappy because of the gray in his beard that he's got. He's got that salt and pepper, so he's a young defense corps nicknamed Bernie Pappy.
He's distinguished.
Ashby, Boutet, Neely out there with Turnbull and Salming. The Flyers still go Bridgman with Holmgren and Kelly, Bladen and Joe Watson. Now on comes Ferguson as Ashby was out there to take the draw. Bladen loses the puck. Here comes Ferguson. He's in at the circle. Shot wide as he made a play past both Bladen and Joe Watson. Up ice comes Bridgman. Can't get past Salming. Holes looks for help. Tipped off the stick of Holmgren down into the corner right of Palmatier. Boutet. Fans trying to get rid of it. It goes behind the net to Bridgman. He's pulled down as the puck loose and on the near side. Dumped up by Boutet. To Ferguson away to Salming with Neely over the line. Going to get past Joe Watson. A backhander. Hit the post. Rebound over the top of the net by Neely. And down behind the net, the Flyers got a break there as Stevenson wants to tie it up. And we get a stoppage of play as the Leafs almost made it 3-1. 9:53 remaining second period. 2-1 Toronto.
Investment management.
Back here in Toronto, Pat Boyas Salming on that last shift. A tremendous bit of pressure as he came up with that backhander. He shoots that backhander almost as good as he does that forehand.
He's dangerous all over the ice. He made some nice moves on Joey Watson to get that backhand away. And there's the advantage of having a good one right there. Catching Steph a little off balance, put it off the post, but no danger done, no damage.
On the near side, Barber can't get past Carlisle. Now Jimmy Watson has trouble with it. And the Leafs have really come on since they've gotten the 2 goals. And again, they're skating and tying the Flyers up as we get a draw along the near side just inside the Philadelphia blue line.
Don Ashby, who took 2 successive solid bumps in the Flyers' left wing defensive corner across the way to our right, has gone to the Leafs dressing room, so those 2 checks, one by Holmgren, one by Bladen, must have taken their toll.
Ferguson back to the near point. Carlisle through a screen, chopped down. Billy Barber along his near wing. Tries to lift up and does to McLeish, who comes with Dornhofer. 2-on-3. McLeish wants to get past Carlisle. He's tripped up, and the puck is taken off by the Leafs. They clear up here to Carlisle and away to Ferguson at center. He's got Thompson breaking on the left. Over the line. Drop pass to Ferguson. Got a man in front. And it was tipped away at the last minute from McKinney, smartly by the Flyer defenses. Here comes Dornhofer back at center. At the Leaf line, down to the right wing corner. Jimmy Watson centers. Cleared, but not out to the point. Billy Barber is shot. Knocked down in front. They scramble. Now Billy Barber has it along the near side. Tries to get it in front to McLeish. He's shot wide as Dornhofer still in that corner laying on the goaltender.
No good mother.
The top of the head with a stick. Palmatier just clubbed Dornhofer. Now we've got Williams, Pellick, and Dupont. As Pellick on the far side, and all Palmatier did was whack Dornhofer on the back of the head with a stick.
That's all. He leveled Dorney right out completely. Dorney is standing in the crease. Palmatier come around and just brought the stick right back over the back of Dorney's head. Dorney hasn't moved since Palmatier hit him. And Moose Dupont, visibly upset and rightfully so, wants another piece of Pellick. Moose has had enough. And still looking at Dorney, he hasn't moved. Matt DiPaolo out on the ice, checking over Dorney right now, and Palmatier, I don't care how he's explaining right now. There's no way you explain away the whack that he gave Dorney over the head.
One must wonder if Palmatier now would become #1 target.
Mr. Palmatier should become #1 target after the clout he just gave Dorney over the head. Moose still wanting a piece of Pellick out there. Pellick heading for the penalty box. The Leaf bench right there with Tiger Williams 1 foot over the bench, but you can bet that he won't get past our bench if Hound Kelly is standing up. We'll have 8:56 remaining in the second period. Toronto 2, Flyers 1.
Come on down and see the...
There's the action back in front of the net. Right now, Dorney's getting up. The puck will go through. Now, watch Palmatier bring the stick. He sees Dorney. Dorney's stick comes up and catches him. Here he gets it. Watch this one. It's coming down. Clunk. Hey, I mean, when you get nailed, you get nailed. And the referee is standing right there looking at it. I'm not sure what they're... Moose right now wants a piece of Tiger Williams, who come off the bench, as I mentioned earlier. Moose was skating back. Now Mel Bridgman out there wants a piece of Williams.
I think Dupont's gone for the night.
Moose coming out of the penalty box. Skating back, you look like he had something wrong with his equipment, was going to our bench, and Williams was skating through. Now Moose wants a piece of Palmatier also as he's going off the ice. Jimmy Watson escorting Moose to make sure no further damage is done. Bad enough we lose Moose for the rest of this game, but we don't want to lose him anymore. There's a brilliant specimen making the head sign to Moose Dupont. You should check their penalty records in the league to see who's got the most this year. Tiger Williams. So as you said, Gene, Moose is gone for the rest of this game. Dorney over at the bench being looked at by Matt DiPaolo. Fred Shiro looking on right now, and it'll be interesting to see what the calls are made on this deal. Tiger Williams coming off that bench, Don. I didn't see when he did make his move. Nobody else moved but Tiger Williams to come into that fracas.
He's been sitting on the top of that dasher across the way all during this situation, and apparently when DuPont came off that penalty bench, that's when it went up. Well, they got a 5 up there for DuPont plus a game. Five fighting and a game misconduct. And Pellick gets a 2-minute minor for roughing.
Just showed a picture of Dorney on the bench. He's sitting up now, and a bit of a grimace on his face, which he rightfully should have, and you know he's got to have a big lump on the back of his head at the very least from that clout that he made. Joey Watson not very happy either. So I guess Palmatier gets out of that one scot-free for what he pulled, with the referee standing right there looking at it, Don. And I guess I better let you take over for a minute, because I might say something I'll regret in a minute.
Well, as I said, in a situation like this with a series of playoff competition where every game and every period is a very important series, you got to wonder that Mike Palmatier now might be the target of any one of the Flyers that benches close to him, and I would have to think from a player's standpoint they've got to keep their cool.
You just said it, Don. In our out-of-town scoreboard right now, Buffalo has a 1-0 lead over the Islanders. And you mentioned Palmatier being a target. As much as you'd like to get a piece of him, Don, you said it, when you're down a goal, you've got to sort of keep your cool, wait for the right time, the right advantage to make your move whatsoever. And right now we have to get a goal to get back in this game. As you said, Moose DuPont got 5 for fighting and a game misconduct. Pellick got 2 for roughing. And we're still milling around down there. The faceoff be to the left of Palmatier in the Toronto Maple Leaf end zone.
Of course, Palmatier has got a bit of a reputation with that stick and with his fists as well. The last game at the Spectrum, which the Toronto Maple Leafs beat the Flyers 4-2, Palmatier had a very interesting session with Paul Holmgren. Okay, Gene.
All right, they're going to play 5 aside for 2 minutes, and then when Pellick's penalty is over, the Leafs have already gotten the lead in this period on a power play goal by Salming after McDonald had tied it up just 2 minutes and 13 seconds earlier. We'll have an uninterrupted 3-minute power play as the major cannot be wiped out by a goal. This, right now, is the pivotal part of the game. Joe Watson in the slot, flips it in on Palmatier, who makes an easy glove save as Joe really tried to unload it quickly while he was being pressured by Ashby.
Coach Red Kelly behind the bench, making his line change right now, sending out some fresh troops out there. Referee Bruce Hood saying he waited too long to make his move. But no more delays, so he sent the 2 fresh fellas back off there. Number 12, Errol Thompson, and number 10, George Ferguson, will have to return to the bench.
Salming and Turnbull out. They've got Ashby with Neely, and the Flyers go McLeish with Leach, Bladen, and Joe Watson as the puck comes to center ice. Tom Bladen has to chop it down, blocked off by Salming at the Leaf line. Charged by Bladen. Here comes Leach over the line and drives. Score! From the right wing circle as Salming makes a blunder and the Flyers burn him.
Well, the rifle has finally found the mark, and Terry, the other night we said that if both Leach and McLeish start finding that range, look out.
2 good signs right there. Reggie Leach back to his old form, down the right wing where he's used to be, top of the circle, and there comes his slap shot right through Palmatier, through the 5-hole. Reggie Leach got good wood on it and ties this game up at 2-2. Tommy Bladen making a nice play. I'm not sure where number 2 Turnbull was going. I think he was moving out of the way to let Palmatier get a look at that puck when Reggie was winding up. He moved out, so Reggie gets his first playoff goal, 11-21, to tie this game at 2-2. We're back in the ball game, Gene.
All right, they'll play again 5 aside for another minute and 43, and then the Leafs have that all-important, uninterrupted 3-minute power play. All right, that will be Leach from Bladen at 11:22. The game tied, up ice, puck given away by the Leafs to Leach. Back to Joe Watson on the near side. Flips it down the ice, and they've got Leach on the breakaway. He's going in, and with the whole play is offside, so forget it.
Smart play by Reggie Leach, Dom. When he heard that whistle go, he was winding up, just got out of the way of Palmateer, was charging out at him.
It's a wonder after what happened between Palmateer and Dornhofer that Reggie didn't let it go anyway.
When you got a head of steam like that and he's busting out on you, all you need is one slip. If he had tripped Reggie and Reggie collides with the net behind one of those posts, as we mentioned earlier, Don, we got to keep your cool, take your chances, pick your spots, and when you get your spots, make the most of them then.
So spoketh Gordie Howe many years ago. It may take me a lifetime, a career, but anyone plays it less than legal with me, I'll get him. Tracy Pratt seeing his first action of the playoffs.
Minus the headgear he might have worn to protect a very badly shattered nose. Joe Watson on the near side. Having trouble with Carlisle, wants to get it up to Clark, can't. Goes back to Ferguson, right out in front. And it was tipped away from Errol Thompson by Bladen as Lonsbury carries it out the center. Over the line, lets the puck roll through and on Palmateer as the Leafs let him go, and then Thompson pulls him down. Clark in that corner, tries to dig it out. He does. Hopped off by Carlisle, and here comes Ferguson going 1-on-2 against Bladen and Joe Watson. Now Thompson cuts through to the middle. Ferguson gets past Bladen down in the offensive left wing corner over skates. Bladen ties him up. Ferguson gets it behind the net to Joe Watson. Rolls it up here on the left side for Clark. Clark tries to poke it and does carry it past Carlisle to center ice. Through to Lonsbury over the line. He's got a man with him. Clark, the drop pass to Bladen. He's in. Shot blocked by Carlisle just to the side of the net, and Palmateer falls on the rebound. We've got 7:30 remaining in the second period. The score tied at 2.
Back here at Maple Leaf Gardens, an instance that happened during that last play in the Flyer zone between Lonsbury and Pratt almost erupted back deep in the Toronto zone, but Bruce Hood waved them both back to their benches because they were in the midst of a line and defensive shift, and back they went. So the face-off to the left of the Toronto net. This game tied at 2. 34 seconds left on Pellick's 2-minute minor for roughing.
And then there'll be 3 minutes remaining on the DuPont Major, and this game could very well ride on those specific 3 minutes as the Leafs, we said, uninterrupted power play, even if they score, because it's the Major. Now up ice comes Turnbull with Williams at the Flyer line, left wing, carries it around the boards, skips past Stevenson to the near side. Williams in there first, ties up the Flyers. It's kicked out in front of the net off Sittler and to Bob Daly, away to center ice. Hits Kindrachuk in the skate, goes into the Leaf zone, dropped back by Salming to Williams, who will turn, and the Leafs will get their extra man in just 10 seconds with 7:05 left in the period. And now hang on, as here could be the whole hockey game. Sittler at his own line. Tries to get past Zaleski, has him well wrapped, taken up against the boards. Now turning around is Salming with Williams. The penalty is over, Pellick is out, Williams over the line, loses the puck, and Kindrachuk now starts out, hooked by Williams, puck kept in by Sittler. Oh, is he knocked down by Bob Daly, and that could have been very close to a cross-check. As now Turnbull flips it in, and the Leafs chase down behind Stevenson. Leaves it there for Jimmy Watson, and all he does is turn and flip it down the ice. Daly came up very high on Sittler, and we held our breath. 2.5 remaining on the Major to DuPont. Salming up ice. Fires it off the stick into the Flyer zone. Stevenson out. Tips it right past McDonald to McLeish. McLeish up to Barber. 1-on-1 against Turnbull. Over the line. He's got Daly on the drop pass a shot. And Palmateer has trouble but smothers it in the goal mouth.
Palmateer very smartly was forced to tie it up. And with the forechecking pressure the Flyers put on, instead of him just turning that shot aside, Terry, he was forced to eat it. And that gives the Flyers a bit of a territorial edge with a face-off in the Toronto end.
Big count, Daly sitting down. Gene mentioned earlier about his stick coming up a little higher, but what may seem high to us is just normal for the big count when he holds it right about where he was.
That's got to be a detriment to him.
All right, now they've got an extra body out there. They've got Turnbull with Salming, and not Williams, but Neely, along with Salming and Turnbull. Here comes McDonald up on the right wing. Sittler breaks for the net. McDonald's shot blocked behind the net. Sittler digs it out. He's got a man in center right there, Neely. Skips past him to the point. Salming dives, puts it in the corner to Sittler. Sittler centering pass for Neely, blocked off. Joe Watson up on the near side. Kept in by Salming. Inside turn, right out in front to Neely. Swept off a stick by Bladen. Bladen is going to try to unload it to the point. Kept in by Turnbull. His shot deflects off the near side. Out to McLeish. He fails to get out. Leafs good pressure, but it does deflect out over the glass on the near side, and we'll get a face-off in center ice with 1:38 remaining on the Major to DuPont, who's gone on a game misconduct.
On that last shift when Daly did come up a bit high, just prior to that, it appeared to me as though Dave Tiger Williams hooked one of the flyers. I think it was Kindrachuk trying to move it out of the zone. So it appears, though, maybe Bruce Hood's going to let a few things go both ways for a while.
So taking a peek at our bench, our fellas getting rested, and take a look at the scoreboard right here. Now we have 1:38 remaining in the 5 minutes to Moose DuPont. As Gene mentioned, he has gone for the game. 5:34 remaining in the second period, and we got us a 2-2 score on the go.
Well, with DuPont gone and LaPointe not seeing a whole lot of action, the Flyers, like the Leafs, are almost down to 4 defensemen, too. With 1:35 left on the faceoff, it's taken by Jimmy Watson on the left wing at his own line, and he clears it down the ice. Interesting lineup as they take Williams off, and they've got Neely out there with McDonald and Sittler to get more beef in front. Salming through, over the line comes Sittler, cuts to the inside, feeds behind McDonald, out to the point. Salming, he's got Turnbull, but feeds behind him on the left circle. Turnaround shot in front, and McDonald just failed to tip home. Now Turnbull, Salming to the near side, up ice, cleared into center ice by Lonsbury, controlled there by Turnbull to Salming. Right wing pass to McDonald. He'll penetrate with Neely over the line. Right wing pass to Sittler. Beautiful turnaround set up to, here comes Salming in. Oh, he's shot wide as he appeared to have the net. From the left point. Play off to the near side to Sittler, almost controlled by Lonsbury. Pokes it to the blue line, kept in by Salming. Into Sittler, top of the right wing circle. A shot blocked in front and cleared down the ice. Off Jimmy Watson to Clark, and he dumped it. 40 seconds left, and the Flyers that close to surviving a major 3-minute shortage. Here comes Salming out with Neely, Sittler, McDonald, and Pelech. The Leafs ice it, and that's what the call will be if Joe Watson gets there first. But McDonald does, keeping it inside to the left point to Pelech. It rolls into center ice, and Pelech can only do a safety play to jam it to the near side for Carlisle. Up ice, gives it away to Joe Watson. Watson through to Zaleski at the Leaf line, tipped back by the poke check of Ferguson to the Flyer line, where Watson and Bladen back and forth with 10 seconds left. They fire it down the ice, and a very, very dangerous situation is now 4 seconds from ending. Carlisle behind his net, right out in front. He loses it to Pelech. The Leafs scramble Pelech away from Zaleski as Kelly comes out, serving the penalty. Pelech tied up in the corner by Zaleski. In comes Kindrachuk. He's jammed up by McKinney. Ferguson and Thompson are waiting on the outside of the foursome to look for the loose puck, but none is there. 3:45 remaining, and we got a turmoil.
Another board meeting in the corner on this one, Don.
Mr. Pelech again in the middle, as he's got Zaleski to his left and Bob Kelly to his right. And stepping in between, linesman Matt Pavlich and Willard Norris. We've got 3:45 left here in the middle period with a score. Flyers 2, Toronto 2.
I came to Midas to get Midasized.
Back here at Maple Leaf Gardens, face-off when play resumes will be in the circle to the left of Palmatier. Boreas Salming at the Toronto bench making a bit of an equipment adjustment.
We have an Islander score, Don. I'll give it to you in a minute. All right, 2-10s, Ferguson and Bridgman to the left of Palmatier, and Bridgman is dumped out, and now it'll be Holmgren is out with Leach, Bladen, and Joe Watson. Ferguson, along with Thompson, who's breaking past Leach, but Leach clears it back to his own line along the near boards to Joe Watson. Up looking for Bridgman, who slaps it past Carlisle, deep in the corner right of Palmatier. Carlisle is outskated by Bridgman, who takes it behind the net to Holmgren. Holmgren centering pass, broken down by Leach on the deflection near side. He tries to center, blocked off by the Leafs, and McKinney coming up at center with Thompson and Pelech. Pelech right up the middle with Thompson on his left. Bad pass to the Leaf winger, and Bladen tries to clear. Pelech keeps it in on the far side, rolls it in his offensive left wing corner. Now McKinney out in front. His shot blocked down by Leach, who comes out, tries to dump a pass to Bridgman. Broken down by the stick of McKinney. Comes 2-on-1 with Thompson. Thompson going right on in. A shot, save, rebound, and loose by Stevenson. Oh, boy. The Flyers have really let Stevenson hung up to dry a couple of times, but he's come up with a big play. Here comes Leach back. Over the line to the near wing. Wants to throw it in on the net. There's Holmgren in front. And he's knocked down by Turnbull, and we're going to get a penalty. And it's interference against Holmgren. And the Flyers pick up their 8th penalty of 12, and the Leafs will get their 6th power play opportunity.
This one comes at 17-17 of this, the second period. And again, that right arm of Bruce Hood, as was the case the other night with Bob Myers, was very slow to come up. And now it's Turnbull and Bridgman jawing back down at the Toronto end. Tripping against Holmgren, and on the series thus far for the big forward from Minnesota, his second penalty. The Islanders have tied up Buffalo 1-1 in the first period on a goal by Billy Harris from Brian Trottier. So what started out as a hard-nosed hockey game, good two-way action, has begun to slide over to a bit of a repeat performance of the type of hockey we saw a year ago between these same two clubs in the quarterfinals. With each game, and of course with the Flyers down 2-0, coming back to tie in the final 38 seconds, then win it in overtime in game 2, the pressures begin to mount. Toronto's Maple Leaf players as well as fans and press have said repeatedly that the Flyers are a better hockey team. They're the second best over the regular season, second only to Montreal, that they really haven't started playing their game yet. And now they're beginning to feel that sort of pressure.
Well, we've played 4 periods plus most of this one, and the Leafs are now in their 12th power play opportunity in this building, and they're 16th overall. Bob Daly winds it around, kept in by McDonald, cleared past Salming, as it was not a good choice of plays by Daly from his own left wing corner, trying to go around the boards, looking to get it out at center. Now past Lansbury. The pass comes up to McDonald at center, breaks 3-on-2 with Sittler. Sittler holds at the line, but then goes in offside as McDonald was a little late in breaking the play. 2:20 remaining in the period. We're tied.
Holmgren with 1:37 to go on his tripping call. On the Flyers bench, Joe Watson across the way, taking a well-earned breather. And of course, with the Moose, Andre Dupont gone when the game misconduct, is going to put that much more pressure on the Flyers' defensive core of the two Watsons, Daly and Dupont and LaPointe.
All right, cleared off by Jimmy Watson. He tries to ice, tied up in there by Williams. Puck controlled by Turnbull and Salming, up ice on the left side. Rink-wide pass for Sittler. He'll penetrate. Down into the right wing corner. Holds. Wants to set up in the middle. Blocked off smartly by Jimmy Watson. Now dug out by Lonsbury. Fighting for it with McDonald and Jimmy Watson for them. Lonsbury comes out with it and scales it down the ice. And he continues his superlative play in the playoffs. 110 on the Holmgren penalty. 150 in the second period. Score tied as McDonald back and forth with Salming, who comes out of his own end, up at the red line, up the middle. Rolls it into the far corner. Caroms out to Stevenson. Leaves it behind. A bad choice of plays as McDonald digs it out. Rolls it out to the left point to Sittler. Sittler holds. He's got 3 men at the point. Turnbull right up the middle. A drive. Save. Rebound in front. And McDonald couldn't get the shot. Just kicked it free to the near side. Holds. Back to Salming at the point. Looks through the slot. Here comes McDonald. A drive blocked by Jimmy Watson, who's in pain. Jimmy Watson hurting. Salming at the point. Now Watson trying to get in. Left wing corner to Salming in front. A score by McDonald.
Jimmy Watson still down on his right knee as he blocked that shot, and he is in obvious pain, is moving as best he can toward the Flyers bench, but the Leafs, striking by the power play route again, have gone ahead 3-2 on Lanny McDonald's 6th playoff goal, his second of the night. The Flyers can ill afford to dig that sort of a hole for themselves repeatedly. McDonald from the glove side, short side of McDonald, scores, and for the Leafs, their 11th power play goal of the series. 18:45 the time of the goal. Turnbull and Salming pick up assists, and it's again a Leafs 1-goal lead at 3-2.
All right, Dornhofer out for the first time since he got the headbang. Now Ferguson steals the play away from McLeish with a minute left in the period. The Leafs have had a big one. They trailed 1-0 coming in here. Now they lead 3-2 as they picked up 3 goals. McKenny steals it away from Joe Watson. He's got a man in front, right through the crease. As it was deflected by Stevenson to the far boards. Here comes Dornhofer at center. Comes through with McLeish over the line. Over to the top of the left wing circle. Down to the left wing corner. Finally taken off by McKenny. Barber digs it out. He's got McLeish in front. And he shot badly to the far side off the shank of a stick. Blayton tries to come out in front. He's spun around and held by Tiger Williams. Pellick tries to unload, but the Leafs, Thompson flips it out of the rink.
McLeish trying to pull the trigger before he really had the puck, drove it way wide, and you don't see Rick drive off the mark that often that wide. Face-off will be to the left of the Toronto net as we're down to our final 30 seconds here in the middle period. And, Gene, it would appear as though the normal power play outburst for the Leafs in the first period has now been moved to period number 2 here tonight. Jim Watson getting a bit of smelling salts to bring him around and clear his head, as that knee is still giving him severe pain as he blocked that hard shot just before McDonald scored that goal back at the Flyers zone.
In the 2 playoff series, the Leafs have scored against the Flyers 36 goals, 19 of them on the power play. Deep in the Flyers zone, Lapointe has trouble as McDonald skates off. Rick now looks up ice, plays to the open near wing. If it's touched by Kelly, it'll be offside, and it is. And we'll have the face-off back in the Flyers zone with 16 seconds remaining in a big second period for the Leafs.
Flyers fans had one chance to cheer. That was on Leach's blast from about 40 feet out. But with McDonald standing right on the doorstep, a feed from Neely deep down the left wing, and that's the go-ahead goal at the moment. 3-2 Toronto.
That's 13 goals now for the McDonald-Sittler-Williams line, and this is the Leafs' 7th game, and they have a total of 35 points. They're averaging in less than 7 games 5 points a game, and this is why they've been tough. 16 seconds left in the period. Williams, Turnbull, Salming, McDonald, and Sittler out against Clark, Leach, Kelly, Jimmy Watson, or make that Lapointe with Bob Daly. Daly up at center. Left wing pass looking for Leach, broken down by Salming. Now McDonald turns Kelly around. They try to kick through at the Leaf line. That'll be pretty well it with 2 seconds left in the period. We get a stoppage right at the near side penalty box.
2 seconds is all that remains as Lapointe came up a bit high on Lanny McDonald, and he took a bit of an exception right down below us. Just about enough time to drop the puck. 1 click of the clock, and this period will be history.
All right, Clark and Sittler at center ice, just a routine face-off. 1 second, and the bell goes to end the second period with the score. The Toronto Maple Leafs 3 and the Philadelphia Flyers 2.
Wire. Number 20, an all-star defenseman for the Flyers, Jimmy Watson. Just talking to Jim before we come on the air, and we were mentioning penalties. And Jimmy, you summed it up pretty good. What did you say about the penalties this whole series tonight?
Well, you know, we got to respect. I think we got to show a little more respect for Toronto's power play. I think they've scored more than, over 50% of their goals have been on the power play, and we're taking all too many. Granted, the referee isn't the best, but we're deserving of a lot of the penalties, and we've got to watch ourselves.
Jimmy, just a quick sideline. When we were in the gondola, we couldn't see what happened. Talking with Moose before we came in here tonight, Moose got excited when it happened to Dorney when Palmatier whacked him over the head with a stick. Moose turned around, saw Pellick sitting on him, got excited. Went after Pellick, thinking that he had done the damage. It was Palmatier. What was referee Bruce Hood's? He was standing right there looking at the whole incident, standing right beside the goal crease. Why did he not call any penalty on Palmatier?
Well, the old story, Crispy, I didn't see it, he said, so, what are you going to do? He's the boss, and he said I wasn't in a position to see it. He said it was a big scramble, and he never saw the stick come up, apparently. So, you can argue till you're black in the face, and it's not going to do you any good. We just got to get our act together. This by no means. We're in good position. If I think we just get our act together and watch our penalties, we're going to win it.
Jimmy, you're playing on the left point tonight. You've got that number 7 all series coming down on you. He's some kind of a hockey player, Lanny McDonald. You know what he can do, what he's done to this whole series. How tough is he to play in a game like this, Jimmy? Do you have to respect him quite a bit?
Well, he's a heck of a hockey player, no doubt about it. He's very strong and he skates very well, and he's got a heck of a shot, and he's also got one of the best centermen in the hockey playing with him right now, Sittler. So, he feeds him pretty good, and McDonald shoots the puck so well, and he seems to, he goes for the openings very well. He knows what he's doing. He anticipates very well, and he can really shoot the puck. So you really have to keep, an eye on him at all times and just try to play his body as much as possible.
With Moose out of the game right now, Jimmy, that depletes our defensive core down to 5. Freddie's not using young kid Lapointe a whole lot. We're down a goal, 1 period to go. How does that change your defensive strategy? I noticed tonight you've been coming up ice quite a bit. You've been charging a lot with the puck, trying to force a little more offense in their end. How will that change in the third period, or will it change?
Well, no, we really can't change that much, Terry. We get, like I said, we got 20 minutes and we only need 1 goal. So I think if we just wait our chances, we can't get running all over the place, open up too much. They're liable to score on us because they skate very well. So I think if we just play our positions, move the puck, and wait for opportunity, I'm sure it'll come. And we've got to stay back. We can't get running out of position. But when the opportunity presents itself, we've got to go with it.
Jimmy, thanks for joining us very much, for giving us your views of the game so far. Join the fellas in the dressing room. Thanks a lot. Give us a tie, get us a win, back home thing to Philadelphia. Now we go back upstairs to the gondola.
All right, Terry, Chris, thank you, Jimmy Watson. 3-2 the score as the Leafs picked up the tying goal at the 4:03 mark. McDonald got his 5th from Neely, and Pat Boutet left all alone in front, and McDonald made no mistake on the goal. And then just 2 minutes and 13 seconds later, at 6:16, with the Flyers serving one of their 8 penalties, this time it was Bob Daly off for tripping Bob Neely. It was Salming from straight away celebrating his 26th birthday with his 3rd playoff goal, with Sittler and McDonald getting the assist. And then while the Flyers were just shy of having to kill off a major penalty to Moose DuPont, who also received a game misconduct for a little set-to with Mike Pelech, it was Reggie Leach banging one home, his first of the playoffs from Tommy Bladen. That came at 11:22, and the Flyers had it tied. They successfully killed off the DuPont penalty, but then Holmgren picked one up, and it was Liney McDonald getting his 2nd of the night at 18:15 with the assist going to Salming and Turnbull. So Salming has a goal and 2 assists tonight to celebrate his 26th birthday. Once again, the Leafs outshot the Flyers 12-10, 24-20 margin in that department. The penalties, the Flyers have 8 of the game's 12, and they've been burned on 2 of their 6 shorthanded situations. The score here is Leafs 3, Flyers 2, and our intermission activities will continue after this.
Don Earl back upstairs here at Toronto's Maple Leaf Gardens. The Phillies may have their parachute man. Of course, the Flyers have got their sign man. That's Dave Leonardi to my immediate right from Willingboro, New Jersey, a school teacher. You know, a lot of people, Dave, take sports all too seriously, and I've got a feeling that somewhere in the back of your mind you figured, hey, let's have a little enjoyment at the Spectrum during the Flyers games.
That's true. True enough, Don, true enough. We have a great time. The people in this section, if it's not a sign, we have a good time amongst ourselves, and lately we haven't been too happy there with the outcomes of the games, but the spirit of the crowd and the signs seem to bring out that enthusiasm, and it seems like I'm in character there, you know, as a sign man, not really myself, and I enjoy it. It's like a character of a Damon Runyon novel or something.
And of course, Dave now has become an international favorite, as he's now recognized here in Toronto after several appearances on Hockey Night in Canada, and who knows, you may be known clear way across the Dominion of Canada by now. But let's get into some of the signs and some of the histories behind some of the signs you brought with us here tonight.
All right, well, starting off with Selesky and Schultz's first year a few years back, and that happened to be, I think, the same year I got those seats down there. I believe this was one of the first signs that I ever made, and this was drawn up. It was very crude at the time, right there at the Spectrum bird and the little wings, and then on the flip side, of course, a bigger bird. How clever. But then I moved on to next goalie, which was something that I used to yell a lot at games, when a lot of times I would replace the goalie, and of course there could be the warm-ups, and then we'd come out and score a goal afterwards, and here would come the next goalie sign. Then I made that a lot larger, and well, we'll see how large in a couple of minutes. Going back to an early McLeish sign, this was one here, Tricky Rick, that I made, and now, of course, I use much bigger signs. I have a few, if the words are small, I have a few that are small like that, but...
Why don't you hold that one until we come back? Because we've got to...
in suspense.
Okay, we'll keep them in suspense, and we'll be back to talk more with the sign man from the Flyers right after this.
WTAF-TV Channel 29, Philadelphia, a Taft station.
We're talking hockey with the famous sign man. He's become famous perhaps through his exposure here on television, maybe infamous, as we said a bit earlier, to some of the fans here in Canada who've seen some of the signs, and now has become an annual visitor to Toronto during the Stanley Cup playoffs. And we're talking about the history of some of the signs that those of you who go to the Spectrum when the Flyers are at home have seen perhaps many, many times.
Okay, and now the new Rick McLeish sign. Of course, he's had 49 goals this year, a lot at home, and Rick the Quick, and I'm thinking about patching over the QU with a couple other letters, and S and an L, Rick the Slick, and for a hat trick, change that to a TR, so it would be Rick the Trick. I try to economize as much as I can with the space and taping over the letters and using it. And a lot of people ask me how it seems as though I'm very lucky, which I am, to pull out the right sign at the right time. And fortunately, all the words are spelled right. I have the dictionary with me when I make the signs. But it just happens to be a little bit of luck, I guess, in timing and anticipation of the play. If McLeish is on the ice, I don't know if they can get this on the camera there, but there's a little tab up here, and so I know what the sign says. I have about 80 signs in the case, and it's a lot easier than hunting through them all. And if McLeish comes out, well, I get this one ready, and you know, I got another one ready if somebody else scores, and bingo, I just watch the play, and here we go.
Well, get a few signs ready as the Flyers get set for the third period as they trail 3-2. Dave Leonardi, thanks so much for joining us, and for being our guest, these gifts for you.
For quality sound.
They've just murdered the Flyers. They've had 4 power play goals in the 2 games. Overall, they're 7 for 18. And Terry, in the 4 games here and the 7 last year, Toronto scored 19 of their 36 goals in those 2 series on the power play. And Flyers have yet to learn that you just can't keep giving that big 5 the opportunity with the advantage.
The frustrating part about that is, Gene, you're well aware of the fact. You know that you can't afford to do it. You know that you don't want to do it. And yet you still got to get yourself back in the game, talking to the fellows in the dressing room. The word they got to use right now, and they're well aware of it, as Freddie Sherrill told them, the word is discipline. We need a goal, nothing else but a goal to get us back in this game and then to go ahead.
Any comment what Bruce Hood said, why no penalty on Palmateer?
Bruce Hood had the nerve to say that he didn't see it happen. Standing 3 feet outside the goal crease looking right at it, but he didn't. Talking with Moose DuPont also on that same term, I asked Moose what triggered his reaction. He said he looked around and saw Pelech sitting on top of Dorney. He thought that Pelech had hit Dorney, so he went after Pelech. Mistakenly, it was Palmateer that should have been on the receiving end of Moose's anger.
All right, Sittler against Clark with Palmateer right. Stevenson left, 3-2 leads as we start the 3rd period. Let's go Flyers and let's go Don Earl.
Okay, and the Flyers will be going with Clark between Leach and Lonsbury, the same line that started tonight's game. Likewise for Toronto, Sittler between Tiger Williams and Lanny McDonald. Flyers need 1 to tie this game up. Final 20 minutes of regulation play. Flyers control it. Jim Watson crosses to Daly on the right at center. Off the right wing boards for Leach. Too far in front. Now picked up by Clark. Has to wait for Leach to clear. And for Lonsbury, but offside is called as Lonsbury did not get out across that blue line in time.
All right, what do you look for at the Leafs in this period? Jerry Desjardins, we've been advised, is back in goal for the Buffalo Sabres. His first game in several months since getting hit in the eye, and that's obviously a psychological move by Floyd Smith, as the Sabres are 0 for 3.
Buffalo has been the perennial opening scoring team in that series, but the Islanders have always come back thus far, and they lead in the series 3 games to none. Loose puck at center ice picked up by Jim Watson to Clark at the Toronto line. Off the left wing for Jim Watson. Throw a screen deflected to the backboard off the stick of Mike Pelech. Around the near side, Daly battles to keep it in. Clark battles right down below us. They bunch up with Dave Tiger Williams and Darryl Sittler. We get a whistle for a stoppage inside the Toronto blue line, and they get a little testy again right at the glass down below us.
Well, where you're going to find Tiger Williams, you're going to find testiness. 3 officials directly below us, and everything cools down. We've been advised that we haven't mentioned it, Terry, that the minor officials are here from Boston, and one of the goal judges is Ed Stanford, who used to play with the Bruins.
Ed Sanford, who also coached some junior college hockey in the Boston area, is now a stockbroker in Boston. That is not Ed Sanford you're looking at if you're watching on television.
Well called, Donnelly. Misinformed us again.
That's not Ed Sanford either. Lanny McDonald. 19:23 remaining in the 3rd period, 3-2 Leafs.
Face-off midway between the Toronto line and the center ice red line. Back to Joe Watson. He's got a drive. Stopped by Palmateer as he dropped to both knees. Puck cleared off Billy Barber. Takes the icing off, and Joe Watson will track it down against the Flyers' backboard. Forechecking is Ferguson, but he gets a good pass to Joe Watson to Bladen, who moves it out to center on the right wing. From the red line to the left wing corner. Karam's right out to McKinney, coming back. Kept in by Bladen, but now picked up as the Leafs break out. Lead pass for Thompson. He's across the Flyers line, gets behind Bladen, falls heavily into the Flyers' backboard as he tried to regain his feet. Now it's Gary Dornhofer, broken up by McKinney. McKinney on the right wing goes into the right wing corner. Centering pass picked up by Joe Watson. Clears but not out. Salming on the forehand. Right off the outside of the goal post to the stick side of Stevenson. Now it's Dornhofer bumping Ferguson off the puck. Takes it behind his own net. Centering pass. McKinney can't get a shot, but Turnbull does and he shoots wide. Puck carrying back to the line. Kept in by Turnbull. Stopped by a skate save by Dornhofer. Moves it to center ice for Barber. Cuts to the left wing. Tries from outside the line. Karam's to McLeish in the right wing corner. Centering pass off the side of the Toronto net. Dornhofer battles for it. Throws it out front. But Salming clears to center ice. And right now we'd like to welcome the National Hockey League Network to the air as we pick up with the action here at Toronto's Maple Leaf Gardens with the Flyers trailing Toronto 3-2. We're early in the final 20 minutes of regulation time. Bob Daly checked behind his own net by Pat Boutet, and he goes down. Boutet tries to throw it out front, cleared to the far corner by Wayne Stevenson. Jim Watson up to Kindrachuk, and he's out at center. Kindrachuk trying to go inside Carlisle. He's dumped and the puck lies in wide of Palmateer. He clears it to the far wing. Lonsbury battles to keep it in. Now it's Kindrachuk. Kindrachuk to the left wing corner. Runs into referee Bruce Hood. Centering pass is blocked out by Ashby. Finally cleared, but out to center ice. Daly from the right. Crosses to Jim Watson deep in the Flyers zone. Daly has to loop back inside the zone to control, and now up to Kindrachuk at center. Sends it down the right wing boards. Selesky to the Toronto right wing corner. Plays the man and not the puck, and we get a face-off in the Toronto zone to the left of Mike Palmateer.
Now in the corner, the Carlisle and Mel Bridgman. Bridgman grabbed from behind by 15. Boutet in there, 26. Kindrachuk, 3 Bladen, 28 Pellick, 9 Don Ashby, and this has been brewing all evening, particularly midway through the second period when Palmateer wrapped Flyers' Gary Dornhofer on the noggin with a stick, and that precipitated a fight which caused the ejection of the Flyers defenseman Andre Dupont. Dave Williams from the Leaf bench, number 22, looking on. And looks like we're going to have penalties, giving us a chance to give you a quick rundown as the Lieutenant Governor of the province of Ontario, Pauline Gibbons, looks on. And quickly the run through is 3-2 as we will return to the NHL network. We have 17:10 remaining in regulation play, 3-2 Toronto.
Philadelphia penalty to number 10. Close your eyes. Open your mouth and feel it. New Abbott's ice cream feels so smooth and creamy. New Abbott's ice cream feels so smooth and creamy. Abbott's new smooth and creamy ice cream. It feels so good.
Back here at Toronto Maple Leaf Garden, Red Kelly looks on. His club has a lead. If they can hang on to it, with Darrell Thompson getting some tape changed on his stick, they can go to Philadelphia with a chance to wrap it up on Tuesday. That's what stares the Flyers right in the face as they play 5 aside. Boutet and Bridgman each for roughing at 2:50 of the third period.
It'll be Clark against Sittler in the circle to the left of Palmateer. Directly behind Clark is Reg Leach with the rifle cocked. On the outer edge of the face-off circle is Tom Bladen. And apparently Matt Pavlich wants 2 new men in there as both Clark and Sittler are waved out. So it'll be Leach against McDonald. On the face-off, puck rides slowly in on Palmateer, cleared out of the way by Salming. Up to Sittler, breaks out to center ice, right wing pass for McDonald. He's across the Flyers line, takes the shot, deflected over the glass, off the stick of Joe Watson. Face-off will be in the Flyers zone.
Little thing we didn't mention that happened in St. Louis last night. John D'Amico, the linesman, was hit by an errant stick, received a bad gash on his lip and a possible concussion, and his linesman's duties had to be taken over by the backup referee in St. Louis, Bob Myers.
Face-off will be the top of the far circle to our left, which is to the left of Wayne Stevenson. Again, it'll be Clark against Sittler. 1:50 left on the roughing minors to Bridgman of the Flyers and Boutet of Toronto. Sittler against Clark as Norris drops the puck. It's Blade moving it out. Cuts to the outside of Salming on the left wing. Back to Clark. Clark goes to Leach on the right wing. Trying to get around Turnbull. One hands it right across in front. Awfully strong forearms. Joe Watson dumps it back the other direction to the right wing corner. McDonald's there first. Clark dumped by Turnbull, and here comes Salming. Ahead for McDonald. He's at center ice. Cuts to the left wing. Across the Flyers line. Pulls up short. Crosses to Salming. On the forehand. Deep rebound straight up the slot, and Leach is there. Leach cuts to the right wing as he hits center ice. Now goes left side for Clark across the Leafs line. Clark tries to go back to Joe Watson. Is blocked up. And it's Sittler to Turnbull on the right side. Comes back to the left side of center for McDonald. He's across the Flyers line to Sittler. Cuts inside of Bob Daly, but the puck is cleared by Paul Holmgren back to the Toronto zone. And now Sittler touches the puck on the Flyer side of center ice, so it's an offside pass against the Leafs.
54 seconds remaining on the minors to the Leafs. Boutet, Flyers, Mel Bridgman, 16:04 in the third period. 3-2 Toronto. Sittler goes off to a hand, and with both clubs now basically going, Terry, with 4 defensemen, fatigue is obviously a factor on the back line, and it could really result in errors and possible goals.
Face-off will be top of the near circle to our right, to the left of Paul Matier. Holmgren faces George Ferguson. Pavlich drops the puck, controlled by Carlisle, takes it behind his own net, now goes to the far corner as he's checked tightly by Lonsbury, flips it up in the air over the head of Jim Watson. Watson races forward along with Ferguson, and the Flyers defenseman has it. Out through center ice on the left wing. Along the boards, tries to go inside Carlisle, goes down hard in that right left wing corner. Holmgren battles for it. Watson comes back to Lonsbury at the left point. Lonsbury, right point, Daly's got the big shot. Drives wide, short sides. As Thompson got a bit of a piece of it. Back to Daly. Daly holds, drives again wide. Palmatier down again as Holmgren and Palmatier are having an interesting rematch of what happened at the Spectrum earlier this year. Puck is iced by the Leafs. Face-off back at the Toronto end. We've got 15-19 left in regulation time. Flyers trail it 3-2.
Girard Bank introduces the Golden Opportunity Car Loan. Now there are more good reasons than ever before to get your new car loan at Girard. And to celebrate, Girard is having a pot of gold sweepstakes. Anyone can enter. First prize winner gets $5,000. 25 second prize winners get a Midland 40-channel CB radio. 25 third prize winners get GE transistor radios. Girard Bank's Pot of Gold sweepstakes and Golden Opportunity Car Loan. Only at Girard Bank.
9 seconds remaining on the minors to each club. 15-19 in the third period. 3-2 Leafs.
McLeish now on the face-off for the Flyers. He'll be drawing against Big Don Ashby. Off the face-off, a drive on Palmatier was off the mark, but Mike didn't want to take any chance and gloved it on the fly to tie up play. We'll have a face-off from the same spot.
Shown a lot of class and poise for a rookie in a very tense situation.
McLeish at Ashby. This time McLeish wants to go back. Here's Barber down the slot. A backhander is blocked. He waited a shade too long. And back comes Neely through center ice on the left wing. Cuts outside of Bladen. Spins. Back to Turnbull. Shot. Glove save as it hops right up into the glove hand of Stevenson. He holds on for a face-off.
No, the opening was there, and then it disappeared. News all day, every day on your total news and information station, WCAU CBS Radio News 1210. Take 1210 with you wherever you go and stay on top of all the late-breaking news events. Worldwide, nationwide, Delaware Valley-wide. When you need news, WCAU Radio News is there.
Gene, what can you say about that Salming and Turnbull? Salming made a tremendous defensive play at the one end, turns around and Turnbull goes right up ice as a defenseman and makes a key offensive play down there with Steph had to make a key play to keep us in this game. Quite a pair of defensemen, Don.
Ashby against Kindrachuk to the right of Stevenson. Kelly controls the draw, gets it out of the zone to center ice, but it's right on the stick of Ian Turnbull. Turnbull blocked off. Here comes Kindrachuk. Kindrachuk deep in the right wing corner. Has no place to go. Right across the goal mouth. As we have a big pileup, down goes Kelly and Salming, but here comes Ashby through center ice. The open man is Boutet as both teams are back full. Ashby stopped. Across to Boutet, the pass was behind him. Takes it off the left wing boards, dumps it to the left wing corner. Neely checked off the puck by Kelly, and it's Bladen behind his own net around the boards for Rick Lapointe. Lapointe out to Kindrachuk, hops high in the air. Flagged down by Mike Pellick at the Toronto line. Now it's Kindrachuk on his right wing. Tried to send Lapointe through as Kelly really took Neely hard into the boards. And here's Neely with a lead pass to center ice. Neely fakes the shot, but loses control, and Daly has it. Down goes Neely again. Here comes Kelly across the Toronto line. His shot smothered by Pellick and cleared the length of the ice. It'll be Jim Watson touching up, and it'll be icing against the Leafs.
Well, they thought Neely was pulled down by Kelly as we have 14 minutes remaining in regulation play, and they're disgruntled. And Tiger Williams now on the near side pointing, say, how come no penalty? But he did it in a quiet manner as at the Leaf bench. Neely is being administered to as he took a bad bump. And they're all yelling out there, we want Ham, or we want the ref. Darryl Sittler.
Well, we can make that unanimous up in this booth, I'll tell you tonight.
Illustrious history, 11 former Stanley Cups since this club's creation in 1927.
It's a joy to walk through the hallowed halls of this building and see some of the action shots from some of the great playoff series of the past. Off this face-off, it's Mike Pellet swinging his own net up the right wing. Lead pass gets by both McDonald and Sittler. Leach goes right side of center ice to Daly. Back to Clark. Puck hops, and Lonsbury picks it up. Lonsbury blocked up. Breakaway, Darryl Sittler. Sittler moving in. Can't get his shot away as it was broken up from behind, and the return pass was blocked by Jim Watson. McDonald does score, though, as he takes the feed from the right wing corner from Williams, and the Leafs now leading 4-2.
Terry, blame the Flyers for that goal. After the play by Sittler, the reaction was extraordinarily slow in front of the net and in back, and it was just an easy feed out to McDonald, who really measured for a hat trick, his second this year against the Flyers.
Right now, Tiger Williams on his knees, and I'm not sure if in all that muting somebody lost a contact lens when they come out to congratulate Lanny McDonald for that goal. Red Kelly behind the bench right now with a bit of breathing room. He's coming out onto the ice to clean up whatever was a mess, but Lanny McDonald has given Toronto a 4-2 lead in this game on a nice pass out from Tiger Williams. Darryl Sittler right here, fans on his shot, misses on a second try, and the puck will go behind the net. All of our Flyers are watching the puck, looking where the play is. Williams just picks it up, and McDonald again is all alone in that spot where he's been the whole series. Nobody got back in time to cover up Lanny McDonald, and once again, his high wrist shot did the damage. Beat Wayne Stevenson clear.
I think Sittler will pick up an assist in that, and if he does, he will set a new record for most total points in a playoff by a Toronto Maple Leaf player. And that record was originally held by the late Tim Horton.
There's Lanny McDonald cruising into the slot all by himself. And again, he got a high wrist shot. Steph again got a piece of it, Don, but not enough to block it, as we know McDonald can shoot that puck awful hard. And it just carried itself right on into the net to give the Leafs a 4-2 lead. So right now, we've got to start to scramble, pull out all the stops with 13:36 remaining, get a goal, and hope to get back in this game right away, quick and early.
That's Lanny McDonald's first Stanley Cup playoff hat trick. Recall he got one in the first game here this year in the regular season in October, let's see, 5, 7, 9, 16th, the 5-5 game, and he got them in a record-setting, uninterrupted, pure hat trick in 2 minutes and 38 seconds. In fact, Terry, if we can go through some painful trivia, he got the goals at 8:34, 9:25, and 11:18. 3 from Sittler in the last, and Turnbull also got an assist. So the Flyers know now they've got to beat the Leafs the rest of the game 3-0 or go home facing elimination.
And of course, that was also the game that the Flyers, down 4-1, got a pair of goals from young Paul Holmgren to climb back and go ahead 5-4, only to have the Leafs tie it in the waning moments of the final period. Okay, Flyers in a 2-goal hole. McLeish on the face-off control at the Toronto line. Salming to Turnbull on the left. As the Leafs smell blood and they want to open this up. Puck lifted to the Flyers' left wing corner. Icing is waved off as down goes Jim Watson, and it appeared as though that knee gave away on him there, Terry.
He stepped on something behind the net. Goaltender Wayne Stevenson saw him step on. He's behind there right now, clearing it out for Jimmy. Jimmy will go and check the edge of his skate, whatever he stepped on. As we mentioned, Don, we're down 2 goals now. The face-off in the Toronto Maple Leafs end, and we have to have a goal right away.
And of course, the Flyers now must throw caution to the winds. They're going to have to go all systems go if they're going to climb back in this one. On the face-off to the right of Palmateer. Salming clears but not out. Bladen lifts the backhander, tries to go to the right wing corner, but gave too much lift on it. Goes over the glass and out of play.
Well, let's see as we add the points to that big line of Williams, Turnbull, and McDonald. They now have 15 goals, 24 assists for 39 points in 7 playoff games. And Sittler with that assist, as he got one with Williams on McDonald's 7th goal, his 3rd of the night. 624, new Leaf record, 17 points in the playoff year.
Face-off control by the Leafs in their own zone. Salming goes off his own left wing board. Gets by Lapointe, but Stevenson sets him up as he comes back, overskates it. Little feed out from behind the net, blocked by Stevenson. McLeish tries to move out. He's at center ice, was hooked from behind, still comes across the line, hooked again, rolls one in, it hops over the glass, off a Leaf stick, and it'll be faced off in the Toronto zone to his right. 12:52 to go in regulation time. Flyers trail it 4-2.
Got some bad news for you, Pop.
Yeah, what?
They're selling sirloin around the corner for 75 cents.
Can be, must be plain B.
No, Pop, 100% sirloin.
75 cents?
Yeah, Pop, at Gino's.
The Sirloin or Gino's thick and juicy quarter-pound burger that's 100% sirloin. It's a burger even a butcher could love.
What's good today, Frank?
Try the Sirloiner.
Sirloiner.
Hero burger.
Kentucky Fried Chicken, too.
Yeah, Gino's gives you freedom of choice.
When I said it was McDonald's first hat trick, I had forgotten he got one in the key game, the clincher against Pittsburgh. So he ties the National Hockey League record with 2 hat trick games in 1 year.
I got to figure that Maurice Richard must be in there somewhere. Flyers keep it in. Jim Watson's drive is blocked off by Ashby, so he has no place to go. Bridgman lifts it in, but Selesky was still in the zone, so we get an offside anyway.
One thing Toronto doing right now, Gene, is taking no chance with that puck inside the blue line. They're making sure they get it out over that blue line and making the Flyers regroup every time.
A loss here, of course, would mean the series moving back to the Spectrum with the Flyers in a deep 3-game-to-1 hole. Puck lifted the length of the ice. Jim Watson back on it, icing again against Toronto, and they'll be just as content to finish out this final 12 minutes in like fashion.
Let's give you those 3 hat-trick players who have scored 2 hat-tricks in one playoff year. Maurice Richard in 1944, Doug Bentley in 1944 for the Blackhawks, Normie Ullman, a former Leaf with Detroit in 64, Esposito with the Bruins in 70, Pitt Martin with the Hawks in 73, and Rick McLeish in 1975 with the Flyers.
He got a pure hat trick against the Atlanta Flames, all in succession. The draw, back to Daly, the drive, short side save, Palmatier, and he's been brilliant. Puck lifted by Pellick, the length of the ice, but it will not be icing as Joe Watson's there first in a foot race with Boutet. Ashby races Watson for it, but he taps it along the far side boards as Bridgman is double teamed, gets back behind the net with it for Joe Watson. Watson chased by Ashby. Watson has no place to go. Comes back to near side for Selesky. Broken up by Bob Neely behind the Flyers net. Centering pass picked off by Selesky, and out come the Flyers. Lead pass to Kindrachuk at center. Tries to go left wing, picked off by Carlisle. Here comes Boutet. Across the Flyers line. On the right wing. Moves right in front of Stevenson, but couldn't get the shot away. Daly off the stick of Bridgman. Carlisle intercepts to Boutet. Boutet lifts it to the Flyers backboard as the Flyers are in the midst of a line change. Lead pass to Selesky, right wing. Tries to hit Kelly with a pass. Back on Selesky's stick as Turnbull blocked it at the line. Selesky, before leaving the ice on the line change, lifts it behind the Toronto net. Salming winds it around for McDonald, blocked off by Lapointe. He's in the left wing corner. Reverses direction. Blocked out by Sittler. Gets it back to Holmgren. His shot is blocked. Keeps the puck in the zone for Lapointe. Lapointe to Clark. Clark on both knees. Tries to center it. As the check-in gets fierce behind the Toronto net. Here comes Williams dumping it to center ice. Bladen crosses to Holmgren. Holmgren trying to penetrate. Lifts the puck shallow. Gets another shot at it. Lifts it to the backboard. Salming trying to clear. Bladen will keep it in. Bladen the drive. Blocked and deflected to center ice by Dave Williams. Now it's Lapointe to Holmgren. Williams gets a piece of it. Now it's Bladen to Kelly on the left. Center ice. Lifts it to the Toronto right wing corner. Turnbull trying to clear it out. Dave Tiger Williams does. It goes the length of the ice, and it's going to be icing against against Toronto as the right arm, the left arm, I should say, of Willa Norris goes up. Face-off will be back on the Toronto end. We've got 10:32 left in regulation time. The Flyers trail it 4-2.
Color. Get ready for color. Your instant is here from Kodak.
Can you feel a brand new day?
Introducing Kodak Instant Cameras and Film. In minutes, they give you clean, dry, instant pictures with color by Kodak.
Available now at all 9 Larman photo stores.
Things look gloomy, Terry, with 10:32 left. The Flyers down 4-2 because the Leafs have owned the last 2 periods of the game.
They're playing good, tight hockey right now, good disciplined hockey, but all we need is one quick break. All it takes is 2 shots, and she's a tie game.
Off the face-off to the left of Palmatier. Daly gets a stick on it, but it's intercepted by Pellick. Quickly moves it up to McKinney, and the Leafs break out. McKinney one-on-one against Jim Watson. His shot deflected wide by Watson, but Karam's right in the slot. Thompson, a great save by Stevenson as he was already down. Quickly out of his own end comes Jim Watson on the left. Goes right side behind the Toronto net. Leach picks it up, throws it out front, but it's blocked out by Carlisle. Bridgman, a turnaround shot. Super save by Palmatier. And the Leafs move out once more. It's Thompson to center ice. Rise from the blue line, deflected out of play off the stick of Jim Watson behind the Flyers net. Face-off will be in the Philadelphia zone.
Stevenson and Palmatier both tested on identical shots. Stevenson by Errol Thompson took one in the throat, and then Palmatier right down at the other end took one from Mel Bridgman. Right here is where Errol Thompson gets Steph, gets him just below the throat, deflects off. A big key save by Wayne. And then right down the other end of the ice, they come right back again, and Mel Bridgman returned the favor to young Mike Palmatier at the other end of the ice, driving one off his chest, which Palmatier got in front of also.
Happy puck owner.
We're back to live action again. Short side save by Stevenson on a routine shot. Now as Bladen tried to go to center ice on a quick break, it eludes everyone, and this time it's icing against the Flyers.
We go back to the second period after McDonald was given a freebie in front to tie the score. The Flyers then picked up 4 more penalties. They lost DuPont for the night, which have left them shorthanded defensively. They had to kill 3 penalties, one a 3-minute duration of the last part of DuPont's major. And the Leafs scored 2 power play goals, added another one, and they're just running away with the game right now.
To the right of Stevenson, Ashby against McLeish. The draw comes back to Turnbull at the left point. Winds up and drives right into Wayne Stevenson's midsection. He gloves it and holds on. Dornhofer on with McLeish and Barber.
Boutet going from the face-off circle, going by Dorn. He had a few words with him, and right now they'll match up against each other on this face-off, so keep an eye on Boutet and Dornhofer.
Ashby against McLeish once more on the draw. Dornhofer taken down as Boutet hooked him, and it's Boutet going to go out for hooking at 10:28 of this, the final period of regulation play. We've got 9:32 left in regulation time. It's 4-2 Toronto.
You know, for every dollar you pay in to Blue Cross and Blue Shield, they pay out an average of 95 cents in health care benefits. You see, they don't have stockholders to pay. They don't have to make a profit. As a matter of fact, they were started back in the 30s to keep families like yours and mine from being priced out of the health care market. And if they didn't exist today, I think they'd have to be invented.
We're on your side.
All right, Boutet for hooking Dornhofer at 10:28. The Leafs, 6th penalty of 15 called by Bruce Hood, and the Flyers get just their 3rd power play opportunity. They're 1 for 2. The Leafs are 2 for 6, and they lead it 4-2 with 9:32 remaining in regulation.
Clark against Ferguson just outside the Flyers line. Puck controlled by Ian Turnbull, who skates laterally with a red line. Now cuts back inside of his own zone, comes back near side for Thompson, who lifts it toward the Flyers line, knocked down by the glove hand of Bill Barber. Barber backs into the far corner to our left. As Ferguson backs off, Barber moves through center ice. Barber looks right, passes right to Clark. He's across the line, gets behind Thompson, kept in by Daly as Thompson tried to clear to McLeish, outer edge of the right face-off circle, tried to go back to Leach. Now it's Clark deep in the corner, comes back to Barber at the right point position. Barber holds there, back to Clark. Clark looks, goes across to Leach. Leach gets it on the forehand, can't shoot, back to Barber, straight down the pipe, just deflected wide. McLeish drives from an off angle. They battle for it, and Palmatier reaches out, can't tie it up. Clark gets it back to Barber. Barber's going to drive, blocked and smothered by Borja Salming as Turnbull and Daly lock horns, and Turnbull ends up on top of Salming as the whistle blows.
The old Swedish vacuum cleaner is at work again.
When things go bad, they go bad. Salming blocked it, didn't quite get a piece of it, and just sat right on it, with 3 of our fellas standing there waiting for a loose puck. Clark decided he'd dump Turnbull over top of Salming to see if he could get anything work the puck clear, but it remained intact underneath Salming, so they take the face-off with 1:03 remaining in the penalty to Boutet. We need a goal, Don.
Amen. The script in most cases unlike the other night, but yet very similar, as the Flyers are trying to battle back from a deficit.
A lot of goal-mouth action here, but just no cigar. Gene, we're close, but couldn't dent Palmatier again.
Okay, we're back to live action again as Salming sets himself on the inner edge of the face-off circle next to McLeish. The draw comes back to Daly. Weak drive is picked off by Darryl Sittler. Sittler ices the puck. Barber goes back on it behind the Flyers net and starts out on the right side, weaves his way to center ice, cuts to the left side, crisscrosses, gives the puck to Clark, back to Daly across the line, has no shot, tries to go back to Clark, kept in by Leach. Leach goes to the left wing corner for Barber, can't get a shot away. McLeish in the slot. Oh, and a super glove save by Palmateer. He robbed McLeish of the third Flyers goal right there.
That's the number one save of the playoff series.
You've got to have goaltending, Gene, and right there is why the Leafs are leading this game right now. Ricky McLeish alone in the slot, makes a nice play to put Salmon down, get it up over him, going for that far side. Palmateer reaches out with the glove hand, just snagged that puck up and took the face off, and we could have used that one very, very badly. We could have used that one by Ricky.
Not to take anything away from him, but he was in perfect position with the glove about belt high where that shot came, so he didn't really have to react and make too much of a move with that right glove. All right, 33 seconds remaining on the Boutet penalty, his third of the night. And Clark looks on as he knows he's 8:05 away from the third loss of this series.
Puck around to Bladen at the right point, goes to the right wing corner, hops over Dornhofer's stick. Lonsbury can't handle it. Kindrachuk battles for it in the left wing corner. Fakes one way, goes the other way, back to LaPointe at the left point, back to Kindrachuk. He has no shot. Cross to Bladen, closing short side as we've got a penalty coming up. And it's going to be against Dornhofer for interference. Here we go again, folks.
I think that's a good call, Terry. He dove across and took Palmateer right out on the shot.
Ross Lonsbury heading towards the penalty box, possibly talked to Bruce Hood as to what he's calling. Bruce Hood making a lot of gesticulations as to what he's deciding he's going to do. He's still waving his hand like a maniac down there. Ross Lonsbury is one man in the penalty box, and Hood is still waving his hand down there, pointing a finger around. Dorney comes through the crease, took Palmateer with him right through, trying to clear out for him to see if we could get an open net.
I think we may have a misconduct penalty called on top of this.
Oh, we got two guys in the box.
Can say, Terry, is no comment.
I don't know, Dornhofer for the interference, and I don't know whether, I think maybe Ross picked it up for unsportsmanlike conduct. That's it. Well, in 8 seconds, Boutet comes out, and the Leafs will have a two-man advantage for 1:52. It could just about sock it away.
The funny thing about this game, Gene, that you can tell yourself, you can gear yourself, you can try and steel yourself for that word discipline. But when you get down to where you get a little panicky and you want to get back in the game, you want to do a little too much all by yourself is when these things sort of result. Captain Bobby Clark, Reggie Leach, 7:40 remaining in the game. We're down 2, and not only that, in 8 seconds, we're going to be down 2 men. So a minor miracle needed, or better yet, 2 goals, Don.
Well, that is always the right answer, of course. Off the face-off in the Toronto zone, it's Boreas Salmi moving it out slowly to center ice. Hits the red line. Tries to send Sittler through. He's dumped by Rick LaPointe. Pass across to McDonald on the right wing. Boutet is out. The Leafs have the power play advantage. Flyers 3 skaters to 5. Here comes Sittler to Boutet, the open left wing. In the slot, McDonald scores. Fourth goal of the night for Randy McDonald. It's 5-2 Toronto.
There's that familiar number 7 in that slot again. Sittler to Boutet, breaking in on the left wing. Boutet faked the shot on Wayne Stevenson, looked into the slot, found Lanny McDonald all alone. And once again, Lanny McDonald with his 4th goal of the night, up high on Wayne Stevenson on the glove side.
Dornhofer has just been given the gate by referee Bruce Hood.
Well, I tell you, they're loving it here, particularly in that jury box that you just saw with General Manager Jim Gregory, Harold Ballard, and King Clancy. Beautiful setup by Sittler to the near side.
Gets that, and look at him find Lanny McDonald. Look where that number 7 is again. All alone, down the slot. Wayne Stevenson's got to have nightmares with Lanny McDonald being left alone in that slot tonight, and he makes no mistake again. High on the glove side for Lanny McDonald to give the Leafs a 3-goal lead, 5-2. There he comes. He can shoot that puck, and as we said, a nice play by Darryl Sittler to find Boutet. An equally nice play by Boutet to find Lanny McDonald.
All right, Flyers key game, the 6th one coming up, or the 5th one on Tuesday night, and it will be seen locally in the Philadelphia on Prism, the cable setup. Now, if you have a cable but you don't have Prism, you're not going to be able to see that game. And so if you don't have Prism, my suggestion is find out why not. It looks like Ross Lonsbury has been ejected on a game misconduct. and things are going from bad to worse right now as the Leafs are burying it, rubbing it in, salt in the wounds, and stepping on the body.
As I said, Gene, it's tough. Freddie, we've used that word for years and years in the Flyer organization, discipline, but right now it's a tough time to try and keep your cool when things have been going from bad to worse. Referee Bruce Hood taking over the game. There is club owner Mr. Snyder standing up with the glasses on. To his right, general manager Keith Allen.
All right.
And neither one of them is very happy at the moment.
Worse than that, Dornhofer got a game misconduct. Lonsbury got a misconduct and a game misconduct. Don Luce has given Buffalo a 2-1 lead in that game at Buffalo in the second period. 5-2, and the Leafs pretty well have this one in the kitty bag. And they still have 1 minute and 36 remaining on the Lonsbury unsportsmanlike penalty that's going to have to be served by Bob Kelly. So, Terry, this is just fallen into the same vein as last year. The Flyers are getting misconduct penalties, the Leafs going power play goals galore and just tearing into the Flyers.
The Leafs playing a good disciplined style of hockey tonight, Gene. No matter how you slice it up, no matter how you try and cut it, the Leafs have played good, solid hockey tonight. Two-way hockey, coming back in their end zone. And when they got their chances on the power play, they made no mistakes whatsoever with them.
Okay, the Flyers 3-man short via the game misconduct route, 2 forwards and a defenseman. Leafs lead commandingly 5-2. Salming with the puck at his own line goes left wing at center for Tiger Williams. He's across the Flyers line, winds it around the boards behind the net to the far side. McDonald gives it to Sittler at the backboard. Comes back to Salming at the right point. Right face-off circle. Sittler broken up. Kindrachuk can't move it out. There's a drive by Dave Tiger Williams kicked out. Kindrachuk on the left wing clears by everyone the length of the ice. This game now appears to be out of hand and out of reach. Puck cleared out of the Toronto end, but Joe Watson controls at the Flyers line. He crosses to Bladen on the right. Comes to center ice for Selesky. Taps it to Kindrachuk along the right wing boards. He drops it back into the Flyers zone. Bladen crosses to Watson against the tight checking of Lanny McDonald. Bruce Hood blocks another Flyers clearing shot. Now it's Selesky sending Kindrachuk across the Toronto line. He's broken up by Turnbull, and back come the Leafs. Turnbull to center ice from his own zone. Barber on along with McLeish. Turnbull can't get a shot off, still gets the puck, almost hits Sittler, who might have had a chance to deflect it by, but back comes McLeish. He's across the line, cuts to the left face-off circle, drives, weak shot, right on, and it's gloved by Palmatier, who ties it up for face-off.
14 seconds, the Flyers will get back Bob Kelly. So, and again, in that whole series of events, Dornhofer interference, Lonsbury unsportsmanlike, the Leafs got a power play goal, and then Ross got a misconduct in a game, Dornhofer a game. The Leafs are now 3 for 8 on the power play and get another pop here for 14 seconds.
It's a situation where Coach Barry Ashby likes to remind you that now's the time to give them a little bit of a keepsake of this game, a little bit of a memento that this series is not over, but you've still got a lot of hockey left to play, and that means by a few good solid body checks just to keep them honest.
Okay, McLeish drives it back to Daly. Bombs one. Score!
Bridgman.
On the follow-up, I think it's Brisbane who'll get it, and the Flyers have scored their third goal. It's 5-3 Toronto.
Well, that's their first shorthanded goal of the playoff series. And for Mel Bridgman on his playoff career, last year was his first season, it gives him his 7th goal, but it may be just a whisper in the wind that has been the Toronto Maple Leaf tornado tonight. Bridgman, a shorthanded goal, while the Flyers were killing off the last few seconds of the Lonsbury penalty. It comes at 14-11. Mel's first on the playoff year.
Should be from Daly and McLeish. Off the face-off, it gets by Salming. Deep in the Toronto zone on their left or right wing. Salming scoots behind his own net, sets up there. Kelly is back. The Flyers are back at full strength as Salming comes to center ice. From the red line, lifts it to the Flyers' left wing corner boards. Stevenson handles the carom, drops it off to Joe Watson, intercepted by Thompson. Goes to the open left wing. Leach can't handle it. McLeish does. McLeish puts it right on the stick of McKinney. Here comes Ferguson, slowed down by Leach. Can't get a shot out. And it's McLeish behind his own net. McLeish starts out. Pushes it ahead as he's chased by Thompson. Gets across the line. Can't get a shot off. Picked up by Rick Lapointe. Lapointe from the left point. Blocked in front by Salming and cleared all the way back to the Flyers zone. Stevenson forced to make a save. Leafs changing the go as Lapointe comes to center ice. Flips a bouncing puck to the Toronto right wing corner. Williams tied up, but with the puck is Carlisle. Out to Sittler, breaking. He's at center ice with McDonald open on the right. Sittler across the line, drops it. McDonald's drive is wide, short side. Picked up by Williams in the left wing corner on the Flyers' end. Centering pass in the slot, picked off by Lapointe. Now it's Holmgren through center ice on the left wing. Holmgren cuts inside Carlisle, but loses control. Pellick is dumped, and so is Carlisle. As the puck is back at the Flyers' end, Sittler bumped from behind by Lapointe. Puck cleared out of the zone. Pellick quickly returns it to Dave Tiger Williams. Bladen controls in his own end along the right wing. Holmgren now gets it up to Clark at center. Hits Barber breaking. He's across the Toronto line. Shot blocked by Carlisle, and he winces. Sittler clears it back to center ice. 3:58 left in regulation time. Daly winds it down the right wing boards. Palmatier sets up McDonald. McDonald set up by Holmgren, but Holmgren missed most of the check, and we get a whistle stopping play. 3:50 to go in regulation time. Toronto 5, Flyers 3.
What's the secret behind Schaefer Beer's consistently great taste? Well, it starts with the country pure water that flows into Schaefer's Lehigh Valley Brewery. Then, Schaefer's brewed twice, Kreuzen brewed. For over 130 years, every Schaefer's been Kreuzen brewed for a smooth, crisp, consistently great taste. Schaefer consistency. Put it to the test. You'll find your last one tastes as good as your first.
Darryl Sittler with 18 playoff points, a Leaf record, and he's picked up 8 of them in 4 games against Philadelphia.
And he had a super game against the Flyers up here a year ago in the quarterfinals. Off the face-off, Salming from behind his own net. Daly trying to keep it in and does. But picking up the errant puck is Ferguson. He's across the Flyers line. The drive off the right shoulder of Stevenson to the backboard. Down goes Ferguson, and here comes Bob Kelly out of his own zone. Kelly with Selesky across the Toronto line. Kelly fires at long range, deflected high in the air, and Neely tracks it down as it comes down behind the Toronto net. Neely out to Ferguson. Lead pass to Boutet across the Flyers line. The drive deflected wide as Joe Watson takes down Boutet. Now it's Selesky with a loose puck, goes behind his own net. Just over 3 minutes left in regulation time. Joe Watson hemmed in by Don Ashby. Has to rip it around the near side for the big bird, Don Selesky. Lead pass at center on the right wing. Kindrachuk sends Kelly across the line. Broken up by Carlisle. Selesky gets a drive, but it's wide. Kelly and Carlisle almost go at it as the puck is cleared across the way out to center ice. McLeish on it. Pulls up short against the double teaming. Tied up by McKinney and allowing Pellick to get a stick on the puck and lift it deep in the Flyers zone to the backboard. 2:40 left in regulation time as Leafs break, but we have an offside pass against the Flyers. Face-off back in the Flyers zone as Willard Norris is standing about 5 feet outside the top of the near circle to our left. 2:38 left in regulation time. It's Toronto 5, Flyers 3. Flyers could get within 1. Of course, then they could go for the repeat, pulling the goaltender for a 6th attacker in a hope to send this one into sudden death. Off the face-off, Carlisle takes a swipe at it, drives it deep across the way. Jim Watson moves it up to McLeish coming off the boards. He's broken up, gets it back again. Now it's Lapointe. Rifle pass to Bridgman. He's tied up by McKinney. And Bridgman gets it back at his own line. Blind pass right on the stick of Mike Pellick, and the Flyers could ill afford that. Time is against them. And now it's Jim Watson from his own backboard as the Leafs are in a change. Here comes Leach to center. Leach drives from outside the blue line, goes for his own carom. Bridgman, the trailer, has it in the left wing corner. Bridgman out of the corner. Centering pass is intercepted by Palmatier, and he ties it up. In other out-of-town NHL playoff action in the first period at St. Louis, in a late starting game, it's Montreal 1, St. Louis nothing. The goal scorer was Steve Shutt. Buffalo leads the Islanders 2-1. That's late in the second period. It's now tied up 2-2. We just got late word. Harris scored the first one. And Ed Westfall, the former team captain, has scored the tying goal. It's 2-2, that game in the second period. Mel Bridgman looks concerned, and right he should be. Flyers down by 2. Penalties and game misconducts have not helped the Flyers' cause tonight, nor have the Leafs' ability to capitalize on those opportunities other via the power play route. Loose puck cleared out of harm's way in front of Palmateer. Now it's Holmgren at the backboard. Out to Bladen, top of the slot. The drive scores! Bladen through a screen has put the Flyers within one. It's now 5-4 with 1:49 to go. Shades of Friday night. And it was from about the same spot. Off the face-off, Bladen at the top of the slot threw a heavy screen, went under the crossbar, and it's 5-4. Holmgren gets an assist, and Barber gets the other assist. 18-11, the time of the goal. Just 4 minutes exactly from Bridgman's goal, and for Tom Bladen in this year's playoffs, that's his first goal. Holmgren and Barber the assists. Now, watch for Wayne Stevenson to be pulled, and the Flyers will be gunning for the game tire to send this into sudden death. Face-off controlled by Barber. Flips it, shallow. Leach goes for it. Clark gets it back to Bladen at the right point. Left point to Bob Daly. Daly through a screen. Clark scores! Clark scores! This game is all tied up. Time of the goal comes at 18:27. Here we go again. Mercy sakes alive. How the momentum of this game has changed again. Bobby Clark saw that rebound laying right at Palmateer's feet. Just gave it a quick flip. And this game is a brand new game. Bladen and Daly, the two-point men, get the assist. And it's now 5-5. Mercy sakes alive. And for the Flyers captain, his second playoff goal, his second goal of the night. And this one comes at 18:27, just 16 seconds apart. The Flyers have scored 3 goals within 4 minutes and 16 seconds. That's how lightning-like this game has changed around. 3 goals in 4 minutes, 16 seconds. So, again, the Flyers have got the tire. They'll take no chances because now they've got sudden death. They've got a chance. In a game that even yours truly admittedly appeared to be out of control and out of hand and irretrievable, as it were, the Flyers that quickly have come back to tie the Leafs 5-5. Even more electrifying than perhaps Friday night's game, because the Flyers only had a 1-goal deficit to overcome then. They had a 3-goal deficit, and they did it. I'll tell you, you stay with this club long enough, and you follow them closely enough, and you realize you just can't give up on this type of a club. They never quit on themselves. Flyers have out there Selesky, Clark, McLeish, with Jim Watson and Bob Daly defensively. The Leafs counter with Ferguson between Thompson and McKinney, with Salming and Turnbull at their blue line. Off the face-off to the right wing, Salming lifts the backhander, blocked out by Jim Watson. All of this action across the way. Clark almost steals from Ferguson. Bob Daly lets the puck slip by him. Ferguson goes for it. Daly there first, kept in by Thompson. But Daly re-intercepts him. Back come the Flyers. Daly tried to lead McLeish. Pass was deflected right to Salming. Salming tried to go back to McKinney as we have 1:08 left in regulation time. McLeish up to Clark. Clark just lifts it out of the Flyers zone with 1 minute left in regulation time. Turnbull in his own zone crosses to Salming. Now to center ice, right wing to McKinney. McKinney lifts it to the Flyers left wing corner. Stevenson sets it up for Selesky behind the net, and here comes the Bird. He's out to center ice. Breaking with Clark and McLeish. Across the line, in the Toronto zone, as Daly can't keep the puck in the zone. 38 seconds left in the third period. Rick LaPointe from long range, but unable to get out of the zone in time is McLeish, and we have an offside called against the Flyers. Man, I'll tell you, when it appeared as though the Flyers had it, they've lost Dornhofer, they've lost Lonsbury, they've lost DuPont. Right now, however, we'd like to welcome the National Hockey League Network to us. And this one where an electrifying change has taken place. The Flyers and the Leafs tied 5-5 as the Flyers have scored 3 goals within 4 minutes and 16 seconds. We have 34 seconds left in regulation time. Off the faceoff goes to the Flyers backboard. Joe Watson on it. Watson around the near side for Reg Leach on the right wing. Springs Kindrachuk loose, but it's ripped back into the Flyers zone by Carlisle, and we have an offside called against Toronto.
I wish you'd stop doing that to me, Don Earl, just as I go down 9 flights to the bottom for the post-game show. Boom, tying goal, up I come. It's tough for an old guy when the escalators are going the wrong way.
Just to recap, Bridgman a shorthanded goal at 14:11, Bladen at 18:11, and then Clark at 18:27. And this game is brand new. It's tied at 5. Off the faceoff, the Leafs drive it behind the Flyers net. 17 seconds left in regulation time. Kindrachuk along the near side is hammered into the corner by Dave Tiger Williams. Lanny McDonald, 4-goal scorer tonight for Toronto, tries to dig it loose. Puck comes loose, but it's on the stick of Leach, and here come the Flyers. Leach from long range, gloved by Palmatier, as regulation time runs out here at Toronto's Maple Leaf Gardens with the score, the Flyers 5 and Toronto 5.
Gene Hart, a winded Gene Hart, along with guest analyst Terry Crisp and Don Earl, in just an incredible, bizarre, wild and woolly third period. The Leafs went in leading 3-2 and appeared to sew it up when McDonald got his third goal from Williams and Sittler at 6:24, and then with the Flyers skating 2 men short due to an interference call against Dornhofer and an unsportsmanlike call against his wingmate Ross Lonsbury. Lanny McDonald got his second of the period and his 4th of the game, 8th overall in the series from Sittler and Boutet at 12:44, and with just 7:16 remaining in the game, 5-2 on the Leafs carrying the play. That was it. But don't ever tell the Philadelphia Flyers that. First, at 14:11, while the remaining part of Lonsbury's unsportsmanlike penalty being served by Bob Kelly was still in effect, Mel Bridgman got a shorthanded goal from Bob Daly and Rick McLeish. And then the bang-bangers within 16 seconds at 18:11. Tommy Bladen on a screen from the right point, his first playoff goal from Paul Holmgren and Billy Barber. 16 seconds later, the Hart Trophy winner, MVP Bobby Clark, banged it in for his second of the night with the assist going to Bladen and Bob Daly, and that did it, 5-5, and what that's going to do to the morale of the Toronto Maple Leafs is hard to figure. In the third period, the Flyers picked up 2, 4, 6 of the 8 penalties. They have 14 to the Leafs' 6. Toronto has scored 4 power play goals in 9 opportunities. They got them from Dale, let's see, McDonald got one, Salming got one, McDonald got another, and that's the way the flow went. The Flyers had a big last period in shots, though, 17 for a game total of 37. The Leafs had 10 for a game total of 34 as we get set for the second consecutive overtime. But please note this, Andre Dupont is gone for the night with a game misconduct. The Flyers line of Rick McLeish, Lonsbury, and Dornhofer totally depleted because Lonsbury and Dornhofer gone for whatever time remains on those game misconducts. And Lonsbury had been doing till his ejection that super job on McDonald, who picked up the 2 goals after Lonsbury disappeared. It's been an incredible change of events. The Flyers are skating shorthanded, manpower out. Randy Carlisle was shaken up at the end of the period. We can only tell and find out for sure if he's not shaken up too badly to continue if he comes back for this overtime period. Incredible. 5-5 the score, and our intermission activities will continue after this, so for heaven's sakes, don't go away. Back here at Maple Leaf Gardens, Gene Hart along with Don Earl. You didn't have to run down 90 flights. I got halfway out, the Flyers got the 4th goal, and they were huzzawing me, and just as I put my foot, boom, on the bottom floor, 3 miles below, in went the goal, and up I have to come with the escalator. You never have to do that, Earl. Here, hold the microphone. I'm still breathing hard.
I don't know. This game of hockey gets crazier every year, Gene, and I guess this is the type of hockey that makes, especially playoff hockey, so exciting and so electrifying. You know, hey, admittedly, I said the game looked out of hand as far as the Flyers were concerned. They were down 5-2, and maybe they heard me and they said, hey, we're going to prove Earl wrong, because they turn right around. First, the shorthanded goal, 2 more follow, all coming within the space of 4 minutes and 16 seconds, and here we go again.
You know, the more players that disappear from both clubs, the better they get offensively. The Leafs, every time they lose a player, they get 2 more goals. The Flyers are without 3 regulars, and we can't joke about that. That could be a very telling factor in a warm building without air conditioning. As you can tell from our perspiration, extraordinarily hot. This is their second overtime game in 3 nights. The strain, the mental strain of the importance of this. If the Leafs were to lose this tonight, tremendously damaging blow to their psyche. Not only would they have kissed away the advantage of winning the first 2 in Philadelphia in a 1,000-to-1 chance, but they will have blown a 3-goal lead in their own building with 5 minutes left in a game that could have sent them up 3-1. I would think now that if the Leafs do win it, they'll be relieved. They'll be up 3-1, but I think the Flyers would be less pressed when they go home Tuesday night mentally, because they show they can come back when they exert the pressure against this team that can be scored against. Pittsburgh did the same thing here. The Leafs, you recall, in the second game with Toronto, had an opportunity to win the series in 2 straight, rallied from a 4-1 deficit, tied the game, and bing, bing, they gave away 2, and Pittsburgh won at 6-4. You recall in the game here, the last regular season, they led the Flyers 5-2. The Leafs banged in 3 to tie it in about the same space of time as the Flyers got theirs, and then Leach and Bladen scored moments later. They seem to let down, whether they gamble or they get careless because they're hungry for more, or they relax, but they get burned constantly in this building. And Don, the only thing you can say, the Flyers must, Terry talks about discipline, they've got to stop giving the Leafs power play opportunities. They've done it now through 7 games last year and 4 this year, and it's so damaging. 20 power play goals in the 7-4-11 games. That's almost 2 per, and that's a tremendous deficit to work against.
That's true, and when you stop and realize that the Leafs have only won 2 games in their last 15 in this building, why then would the Flyers add to their comfort and give them that much more of a chance to come back? They're going to have to play it close to the vest in this overtime. It's hard to say what the Flyers might do. They came right out forechecking in the overtime on Friday night, and I can't imagine Fred Shero changing his tactics in this one, but they got to stay away from penalties.
Should be interesting to see now who he's going to be forced to team Rick McLeish with. Barber, Leach, and Clark could go as a whole line, but then thereafter, the McLeish is going to have to find 2 new wingmates, and that's very, very tough, particularly for him because he's such a free spirit. They have 2 new players working with him, which could create problems, and that's just what you don't want in overtime, but we have no choice.
That's true. You got to go with the best you've got, and you got to go with what you've got. And of course, without Dornhofer and Lonsbury gone in the same situation, beefing about a Bruce Hood call that happened around the side of the Toronto net, there went the McLeish line. Only McLeish is left, and of course, Moose DuPont, perhaps one of the better gunners from the back line as far as accuracy is concerned, and the top plus-minus defenseman for the Flyers during the regular season. You can ill afford to lose players of that caliber and still expect to climb back. But climb back they did. Overtime could be something else again. In other playoff action, it looks as though, and I would guess that it's going to happen unless a miracle happens, that the Montreal Canadiens will clean up their series tonight against St. Louis. The guess is that the Islanders will end the series against Buffalo tonight. But again, you never know. A bizarre game on the coast, which Boston won in the final 13 seconds against L.A. the other night.
Would you do me a favor? Would you just go run up and down the stairs? I resent your sitting here, not perspiring, and not steam coming out of your collar and winded. I always have to go through that. It's unfair. I'm older than you are.
You are? Boy, that's news to me, folks.
I'm looking for sympathy.
He just aged about 5 years this week here in Toronto. So, no, that game on the West Coast, I was talking to Peter Gammons of Sports Illustrated in the press room before the game, and he said it was a fluke shot. Stan Jonathan was on his way down, having been checked. He took just a swipe at the puck, trying to center it, and Vachon foolishly tried to handle it, deflected off his glove, and in 13 seconds to go in the game, and the Bruins had won it 7-6.
Well, the Flyers now in the playoffs here have played 2 in the first season, 3 last year, and this is the second 7, and this will be the 3rd overtime game in this building between the 2. 3 out of 7. The odds may be against the Flyers. They're 2 for 2. DuPont won the series the first year with an overtime goal at about the 2-minute mark. And of course, Friday night, McLeish gave the Flyers life at 2:55. It's interesting to see what the Leafs will do. They came out very, very tight on Friday night. You recall in your interview with Harvey Bennett, he said the reason that the Leafs were afraid of losing, and that emotion might also be there. They've got to be terribly stunned at giving away those 3 goals so late.
That they are. Excuse me. They were tight starting the game tonight, perhaps for the very same reason.
Yeah, and then the Flyers gave them life in the second period with those penalties, and that's what they're going to have to stay away with. The Flyers have used Rick LaPointe sparingly tonight, so it's Jimmy and Joe Watson, Blayton, and Daly who look winded. I think this time the pressure is obviously against the Philadelphia defense, as Salming, Sittler, or Salming and Turnbull, Pelech, and Carlisle have had, I think, the little easier of it, although they certainly didn't in the last 3 minutes. Again, the shots, the Flyers continue to pepper. They have 37 in the game, and just as we look at our figure, that gives them 134 in the 4 games, and that figures out to 36 a game. And that's surprising because now they're still in the risk of dropping down 3 games to 1. The Leafs, with their shots tonight, they have 34, have 116, so the Flyers have far outshot them on an average of 8 a game, and yet they're still struggling. And but a win tonight, and heavens knows what it's going to do to Toronto. It has to be damaging.
Again, as Terry Crisp has pointed out repeatedly, and I think those of you who know playoff hockey are very much aware, goaltending is where it's at. And Palmateer has been absolutely brilliant for Toronto. He's played it all the way. Wayne Stevenson's come up with some super saves here tonight. That shot by McLeish that Palmateer gloved midway through that third period to his right, probably the save of the series thus far.
At that point it was. Now it really has no significance because the Flyers got the 3 goals. Lanny McDonald of his 4 goals. They've just been a nightmare for the Flyers. 3 of them in the underbelly, right in the slot with nobody in front of McDonald except goaltender Stevenson. And with a shot like that, like McLeish, you're going to score 95% of the time. And the other one, he was off the side of the net by himself. So he's been alone on all 4 goals. And the Flyers are going to have to realize that as they come into this overtime, that the checker, the shadow Lonsbury is gone, and you're going to have to make sure to keep somebody on McDonald. But more importantly, the great trigger man is Sittler, who now has 18 points. And this is the Leafs' 7th game, and he's averaging better than 2 per, and the record is only 27. So if the Leafs were to win this one and go on, there's a real underline candidate for this year's Conn Smythe Trophy already.
Well, of course, this is the benefit of a team, and one of the benefits, the plus benefits a player like a Darryl Sittler will gain from having played the preliminary round. If the Leafs, perchance, should make it all the way to the finals, they've had that many more games with which to attack a record like that.
Of course, with all the games, you still have to put them in. And 18 points against Pittsburgh, and this is a pretty good team. He's already had 8. He's averaging 2 a game, and he is the catalyst, and if the Flyers can't control him, they're in trouble. All right, you're giving me that, which means I'm supposed to say that's our intermission, and we'll be back with the start of the first overtime after we pause for these messages.
Don Earl with Gene Hart back at Toronto's Maple Leaf Gardens. The Flyers, the first of the 2 teams to return from their locker rooms, getting set for perhaps one of the most exciting, if not the most exciting phase in all of pro hockey, and that is sudden death overtime. In playoff competition, the only time they use it, under current rulings, and the best is reserved for the best. Flyers without Dornhofer, without Lonsbury, without DuPont, all gone to early showers via the game misconduct route. They will be hard-pressed with the loss of talent like that, but it's the time that a team has to reach back for that something extra. Out of town in Buffalo, the Islanders have gone ahead of the Buffalo Sabres 3-2 on a goal by Potvin. Dennis Potvin. Thank you, Harlan Singer. He made me a big D in the sky. So it's Islanders leading Buffalo 3-2. That game in the second period of play. The Leafs have returned. Lanny McDonald comes out of the locker room along with Wayne Thomas. And the Toronto fans, the cup stops here. Well, there's many a slip twixt that cup and the lip. Many teams have gone by the wayside, have known that. Flyers will be defending the goal to our right here in the first sudden death overtime. The Leafs with Mike Palmateer, the goal to our left. Bruce Hood, the referee. Willa Norris and Matt Pavlich working the lines. Score tied 5-5. And mercy sakes alive, here we go again. For overtime play-by-play, let's go Flyers, let's go Gene Hart.
Thank you, Don Earl. Flyers' career history is 9 wins, 5 losses in overtime, and they're 6-5 on the road. All right, the Islanders, as we said, leading Buffalo, and it'll be Sittler, McDonald, and Williams out with Pelech and Carlisle. And the Flyers are going with Holmgren and Barber, centered by Clark, with Daly and Jimmy Watson. So Barber's going to have to check his counterpart, McDonald. All right, Roosehood will drop the puck. Stevenson to our right and Palmetier to our left. Daly comes up at center over the red line, fires it off the glass around behind Palmetier to the near boards. Barber is bumped off by McDonald. Now Carlisle wraps up Clark, spins him around. McDonald trying to dig the puck out, but can't in the Leafs' defensive right wing corner, and we'll get a face-off to Palmetier's right.
There's that Islanders Buffalo score on the scoreboard down to our right. The go-ahead goal off the stick of Dennis Potvin from Ed Westfall and Dave Lewis. That's in the second period in Buffalo.
Sittler and Clark. Every face-off in the defensive end of either club are hold-your-breath times. Clark gets to draw in on Palmetier, sticks it to the near side. Carlisle bumped off, played out to McDonald, slashes it down the ice, is racing for it. Cutting across beautifully is Bob Daly on a gamble from his right side to the left and dumps it down behind Palmetier. Winds it up on the right wing to Carlisle. Away, and here comes Sittler. Couldn't handle it at center, and it was dumped back for the turning Barber. Couldn't touch it over the Leaf goal line, and we have an icing call to Philadelphia.
So now the Flyers are going to have to play it airtight defensively as the puck comes back to their zone. We're only 36 seconds into this first sudden death overtime, but any time you're watching overtime or involved in it in any way, you hold your breath every time the puck is teed up in that defensive zone.
All right, Blayton and Joe Watson out, and the Flyers go Leach with Kelly and McLeish against Ferguson, McKenny, and Thompson, Turnbull, and Salming. Back in the corner behind Stevenson. Ferguson battles Joe Watson for it. In there, Blayton, who digs it out. Up on his right side and away to Kelly at center. 1-on-2 over the line against Salming. Drop pass, McLeish, a shot. Just trickles wide of Palmetier on the deflection. He was down already. Kelly behind the net. Centers off the side of the Leaf goal. And played by Salming to Errol Thompson, away to Turnbull, and up through to Ferguson at center ice, over the line, blue line, smash! Stevenson, the kick save in the far corner. Now it's Thompson digging it out, rolling it down behind Stevenson. Gets it past McKenny, doesn't it? Still behind the Philadelphia net. They sent it right out in front, and it was kicked away smartly from Thompson by McLeish. Away to Blayton at center ice. The Flyers have a 4-on-1 over the line. The pass is bad, and it's cleared out, and up to McKenny, over the line, top of the right wing circle, lets it go! Stevenson the save and hugs the rebound to the short side post.
McKenny had the option on that rush to either use Turnbull as a decoy, which he ultimately did, or go to Turnbull, who might have had the clearer shot, but you always take a chance when you give up the puck of having it intercepted or deflected off its mark. McKenny did have the shot. He did take it, using the Flyers defenseman as the screen. And Wayne Stevenson came up with a save as he went down low to pick up the flight of the puck and tied it up for a face-off.
All right, the other pair of defensemen out there, Jimmy Watson with Daly, and it's Kindrachuk along with Selesky and Bridgman. Ashby out there with Neely and Boutet. Boutet has had a fine game for Toronto. In front of his own net, Jimmy Watson to the near circle, out to center ice. Boutet controls, fires it back in, and everybody goes chases. Bob Daly behind the Flyer net, winds it around to Zaleski. Clears up past Kindrachuk to center ice, chopped down by Carlisle. Back it goes again, down behind Stevenson. Leaves it there for Bob Daly. Daly swings inside Neely up to Kindrachuk at center ice, and he comes with Zaleski over the line. Going into the Zaleski, sharp angle shot wide. It comes back to the near point. Jimmy Watson has Daly open. He's going right on in. A drive. It's Tuffy's goal just wide of the open corner. Behind the net, Bridgman looks for a stuffer right out in front. Cleared away from Zaleski. Dumped behind the net to Bridgman. Bridgman looking to center, out in front. Shot wide of the net by Ashby to clear it behind. Zaleski back trying to get it to the point, stolen by Neely. Up ice and on the off wing, Boutet can't control. Rolls it into the Philadelphia zone. Ashby is bumped off by Daly. They jam it up on the near side. They're trying to get a stoppage of play and do after 2:27 of scoreless play in the overtime.
How's your heart, Gene?
Whee!
That's a play on words. Man, I'll tell you, the action on that particular Flyers rush was that close on several occasions, but Flyers just missing by a hair, and that's, of course, misses as good as a mile when you're playing this game. Score tied 5-5. We're 2 minutes, 27 seconds into sudden death overtime.
Williams, McDonald, and Sittler out with Turnbull and Salming, Clark, Holmgren, and Barber with Blayton and Joe Watson. McDonald already with 4 goals on the night and an assist. It's his second 5-point game. Joe Watson swinging past Williams up along the near side. Tries to get past McDonald and Kent, and it's iced by Salming, and that's what the call will be.
I don't know if the Flyers planned it that way, but that was a smart move because now they get the territorial advantage of having the puck dropped deep in the Toronto zone. It'll be in the circle to the right of Palmateer. Flyers go with Clark, Barber, and Holmgren. Joe Watson and Tom Bladen defensively. Bladen's goal pulled the Flyers within 1. 16 seconds later, Clark on the doorstep sent the game into sudden death overtime.
Clark and Sittler to the right of Palmateer, Leaf zone, and we get a stoppage as we had a circle violation. Bruce Hood on the far side of the Leaf goal now comes back to the near corner to watch Billy Barber watch closer at the circle. Joe Watson now, Paul Holmgren talking to Tom Bladen at the right point. Now he'll close in the slot. All right, Willard Norris will drop between Sittler and Clark. Goes right in on the goal. Clark shoves it short side, and Palmateer the save. It's behind the net. Wound by Salming out to the far point. Bladen challenging pass. Thompson behind the net. Centered right out in front and taken off and cleared by Salming. Too far at center from McDonald. Jammed back in by the Flyers. Blocked off by Tiger Williams. Weak pass by Barber. Cleared at center ice and dumps to the Leaf line. Salming looks rink wide to McDonald. Blocks with a skate at the red line. Now holds. Dumps it into the Flyers zone. It's deflected and played out by Clark to Barber. Looking through for Holmgren at center. He's by himself. Rolls it into the Leaf zone. And we welcome the NHL Network back here with 3:31 gone in overtime. The score is 5-5. Back to Joe Watson at the Philadelphia line. Circle to the right of his own goaltender. Turns and starts up the middle at center with Reg Leach on the far wing. Fires in the blue line wide of Palmateer. Far side, Turnbull taken down behind the net. Leach fires at the goal line and Palmateer smothers and stops play just as Sittler cleared it around the near boards. Gene Hart along with Don Earl here at Toronto.
Okay, the face-off will be in the circle to the left of Palmateer as we're in sudden death overtime. Fred Shero and Red Kelly. Red Kelly a little more the pacer than is Fred Shero, but both of them with very stern and staid countenances as they contemplate the outcome of this game, whatever it might be.
Flyers got 3 goals in the last 4 minutes, 2:16 seconds apart. The Leach drives, just tipped wide of Palmateer to the near side. Kelly off the side of the net for Philadelphia in the far corner. Harold Thompson clears out to the point. Bob Daly shot deflected in on the net, rolls wide of Palmateer, sticks it to the near corner. McLeish back to Jimmy Watson, in on the net. Broken down by Carlisle. He clears into center ice, taken by Leach. Turns back the other way. He'll fire from the circle. Wide of Palmateer, all the way out to the blue line, kept in to the side of the net. Kelly behind to Leach. Leach has it taken away by Carlisle of the Leafs. Cuts inside, clears to the boards, kept in by Daly. Now shot but not out. Rink-wide pass to the near boards to Leach. Leach rolls it wide of the Leaf net. Thompson's Ferguson behind to Kelly. Kelly looks to center. He's got McLeish behind the net in front. Leach can't get the shot. Trying to center again are the Flyers, but it's taken off by Pellick to the near side. Thompson wants to come out. Kept in by Kelly. Kelly right out in front to McLeish. Goes to the far side to Zaleski. Shot wide of the circle. And Cairns all the way down the near boards into center ice and out of the rink, and we get a stoppage of play with 4:39 going in overtime.
Out of town, St. Louis has tied up Montreal still in the first period as Larry Patey from Bob Gassoff, the goal scorer, and it's Montreal 1, St. Louis 1 in the first period of play. 5-5 sudden death overtime in this one as the face-off will take place outside the Toronto blue line on the Flyers' right wing.
Ashby number 9 for the Leafs out there with Neely 3, Pat Boutet number 15. The Flyers go Kindrachuk 26 with Zaleski 11 and LaPointe. Here comes Turnbull from the left wing circle. A shot blocked by the stick of Bladen behind the Philadelphia net. Boutet looks to center. Turnbull has his shot blocked. And it's Kindrachuk turning along his own goal line and swinging up the middle with Zaleski and Bladen. Through, he's got LaPointe over the line. LaPointe falls down. Kindrachuk loses it along the near board. It's cleared, but not out to the point. Joe Watson a drive. Knocked down by the Leafs, and out comes Neely. They've got a breakaway by Boutet, who overskates the puck and brings it in offside at the Philadelphia blue line.
Break for the Flyers right there as the linesman, their best ally on that particular play. Boutet offside, face-off outside the Flyers blue line on their left wing as we're 5 minutes, 9 seconds into sudden death overtime. Flyers will now go with Kindrachuk along with Zaleski, now Daly, and Jim Watson are coming back. Boutet on the offside, picking up the puck to the Flyers side of their own blue line, and it'll be faced off outside the line.
Short shifting, Clark, number 16 for the Flyers. Barber on the left side, Holmgren on the right with Daly 2 and Jimmy Watson 20. Flyers have lost Andre Dupont, Rick McLeish's 2 wingers, Lansbury and Dornhofer on game misconducts. Sittler 27, McDonald number 7 with 4 goals. They try to dump it in. Barber out to Clark. Checked off a stick by Carlisle into the Philadelphia zone. Shot off Carlisle to center to Barber. Shoving through. He's got a man open on the far side. A shot! Marvelous save by Palmateer, and he was helpless on the rebound. And we got a play behind the net as Bob Daly has to come to center ice. Jimmy Watson away from McDonald into the Leaf zone. There'll be a delay offside unless they get it out, and they do to Carlisle. Over the line comes Sittler. He's got McDonald and Tiger Williams with him in the near corner. Looks to center. Clark takes it out. Up to the near side. Billy Barber jammed up by McDonald. Sittler in there along with Jimmy Watson of the Flyers, number 20. And we got a stoppage with a face-off to Stevenson's left. 14-17 remaining in overtime, and the score is tied at 5.
Now, while it's still hurting, hear this. The DMC Tax-Free Income Trust Pennsylvania gives you income that is free of federal income tax, free of Pennsylvania income tax and personal property taxes. And all you need is a $1,000 initial investment. DMC Tax-Free Income Trust. See your securities dealer or call collect area code 215-988-1321. Discover how you can take advantage of DMC tax-free income now.
Super save by Mike Palmateer. Save what could have been the game right there. As Holmgren taken out of the play. Had he been available for action, that puck might have been flipped in on the rebound.
Sittler and Clark, the Flyers get it down behind the net. Jimmy Watson there has Bob Daly off to his right. And Daly now through at the Flyer line to Bobby Clark. Gets past to Carlisle. Over the line on the far wing, a drop pass looking for Barber cutting in from the left, but Holmgren in the middle went in offside, number 17.
I think Barber might have been faked in too, Gene, as Clark took 2 more zigs than he might have expected. Instead of cutting a parallel along the line until Clarkie made his break, he went in and then skated parallel with the line. Flyers make a change as both coaches will be short shifting in this most important phase of any playoff game.
Remember, the Flyers down 2-1. If they lose this one, they face elimination Tuesday. If they win, then they've wiped out the Leafs' advantage of winning 2 straight in Philadelphia. Now a pass by Joe Watson is blocked as it went for the stick of Ferguson, who has it now at the Leaf line. Turns. He's got Turnbull on the far side. He's got the big shot over the line. Whistling shot hits the outside of the net. Now Mel Bridgman tries to clear. Block to McLeish. He lifts it through, and he had Leach at center, and a marvelous air blockage by Salming. Here comes Blayton from center ice. Fires in on Palmateer. Gloves it. Drops behind for Jim McKenney, who's out there along with Ferguson. A pass to the point. Blayton dumps it behind the Leaf net as they're playing shaky defense in this period. Up on the near side to Ferguson. Away to center ice, but there's nobody there. Cutting across at the Flyer line is Tom Blayton. Away from Errol Thompson. Rink-wide pass to Leach. Leach up on the near side to Bridgman. Pass blocked by McKenney. Back into the Philadelphia zone, and up ice comes Blayton 3. Through off McLeish's stick. He lets it roll down behind Palmateer. Sets it up for Salming. Clears up on the far wing, and up ice looks Thompson for Ferguson against Blayton and Jimmy Watson. Shot from the blue line. Deflected wide of Stevenson. Comes out. Drops it off to the near side to McLeish. McLeish has it blocked by the forechecking of Turnbull, who drops back now as Blayton out there with Jimmy Watson. Watson up on the far wing. Gets past Don Ashby, number 9, to Leach. Leach carries it down behind the Leaf net to the near side to Bob Kelly. Kelly dumps it, knocked down by Ashby. Looks up ice, clears for Boutet. Gets it on the carom off the boards himself. Through at center ice for Neely on the off wing, trailed by Boutet. Neely down, right out in front, looking for Boutet, stolen by McLeish. Neely in there battling for it with Jimmy Watson. It's kicked behind the net away from Boutet to Bob Daly, and wings it away to Zaleski at center ice with Bob Kelly past the in Turnbull. Turnbull cuts it off. Centering pass taken by Carlisle. Here come the Leafs. Boutet open on the right wing. Over the line. He's got Ashby breaking for the net. But the Flyers break up the bad pass, and here comes Bob Kelly. His pass taken away at center ice, and we're going to have a Flyer penalty against Bob Kelly. And the Leafs, who have burned the Flyers already for 7 power play goals in this series, have a chance now at 7:53 to win it.
Well, this is what the Flyers knew they had to avoid, but avoid it they didn't or couldn't. A tripping call on Bob Kelly as he upended, I think it was Pat Boutet who was carrying the puck at any rate. It's Kelly for tripping at 7:53 of sudden death overtime. And this sets the stage for Toronto's, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 power play opportunity of tonight's game. 7:53 the time. Kelly for tripping. and this 2 minutes will press the Flyers that much further.
Don may have mentioned the Leafs' 9th power play coming up. They are 3 for 8. The Flyers' 15th penalty of 21 called by Bruce Hood. And of course, you can expect to see the 5 that have played the most of the series. They misspell Inger Hammerstrom's name, but the effect is the same. Lanny McDonald out there on the right side, 7, 4 goals and an assist, his second 5-point game of the playoff series. And overall, he has 15 points. His line mate Darryl Sittler has 18. Sittler, 27 at center with Williams on the left. On the right side, McDonald, and back at the points, Turnbull and Salming as Bobby Clark trying to get all the time he can to give his defense, which is down to 4, in the absence of Moose Dupont and -2 wingers, Gary Dornhofer and Ross Lonsbury ejected on game misconducts, and all 3 are behind the Leaf net to our left. I think we're going to get a measurement of the stick of Mike Palmateer.
Well, Fred Sherrill waits for the opportune times, and this is the opportune time. And of course, if it's an illegal stick, then the power play opportunity is wiped out. I don't have an immediate recollection of the Flyers' record on this stick measurement, but I think they're ahead of the game, Gene.
Yes, the worst thing that can happen is a $200 fine for a frivolous claim, but if it pans out, they'll be happy to negate the Leafs' possible power play, and if it doesn't, it's worth a $200 gamble when you're in a multi-million-dollar series.
Well, they're measuring it right down below us as the gauge is kept by the minor officials. Dave Tiger Williams tried to penetrate that referee's crease in front of the timer's bench, but was immediately detained by Willard Norris, the linesman. And now they're going to go off and apparently measure it in privacy or get a new measuring device.
Well, it may be they need the tape measure, which is an official part of the referee's equipment that rarely is brought out to the ice. And what they generally have at the bench is the measuring device for the width of the blade and the curvature, and they have a yardstick, but generally that's not enough, as they usually need a tape measure. And the Flyers have seen this happen in Los Angeles. They've seen it happen in Detroit and several other arenas offhand where this claim has been made.
And of course, with Kelly already in the box, this is the time that it would be opportune to make an illegal stick claim, because if they're successful, their claim holds up, then that power play opportunity is washed out. 7:53 into sudden death overtime, score tied 5-5 when it appeared as though the Flyers were down and out on their way to their 3rd loss in this series. 3 goals within a span of 4 minutes, 16 seconds, brought the Flyers from 5-2 to 5-5.
That's an illegal stick, and so Palmateer will get it back, and it just cost the Flyers $200, but also they got a respite here. Maybe that's worth the $200.
It might have given Mr. Palmateer a chance to do a little second thinking. Of course, he's the rookie, and in games as important as playoff competition, you play every card you have.
The Leafs are 8 for 20 against the Flyers. Now, Lanny McDonald talking on the far side to Rhett Kelly as Jimmy Watson looks on. Rick LaPointe used sparingly tonight, and with Dupont gone, the whole brunt of the last 2 periods plus overtime have rested on Jimmy and Joe Watson, Daly, and Tommy Bladen. Now back in the Philadelphia zone. Bladen will get there first. Williams is going to try to put the pressure on. Bladen looks up the ice and clears it as Bruce Hood falls into the Leafs players bench on the far side.
It went off the glove of Ian Turnbull, so by rights the faceoff should be outside.
Willard Norris is saying in the circle to the right of goaltender Stevenson.
Well, it went off the glove hand of Turnbull, and the rule says that the last man to touch it, if it's the attacking team, should come outside. So the Flyers come up short again. Bruce Hood taking a header as he tried to get out of the way of that drive.
All right, Sittler against Clark, and every one of these face-off is pivotal. False draws. Matt Pavlich wants them set on that tee properly. All right, Leafs control partially back to the left point. Turnbull through a screen wide behind the net and over-skating it as it bounced past the Lanny McDonald, and the Flyers now come along the near side as Bladen carries to center. Through to Clark, who'll come with Barber. 3-on-2. They hold, and the Flyers ice it. Clark right back to his own goal in order to get them reorganized. And with the Leafs up at the other end, Joe Watson has an easy road to drill it the rest of the way as he's buried on a check by Tiger Williams with 1:20 left on the Leafs' advantage. We've played 8:30 into the overtime, 5-5 the score, as Lanny McDonald gives it off to Salming, and here he comes with Turnbull, Sittler, Williams, and McDonald. Through into the Flyer zone behind Stevenson. Kindrachuk out now, tied up. They get it off to Bladen. Bladen, a nice pivot. Rolls it around the near side. Zaleski now is going to fight Salming for it. It goes to Joe Watson off the deflection from Salming and Zaleski, and he ices it. Now out there, Bladen with Jimmy Watson, and they had Salming behind the defense. Sittler over the line. Drop pass to Lanny McDonald. Tries to kick it in on the net, and it trickles wide to the far corner. Turnbull overskates as he's wrapped up by Bob Daly. And it rolls off Daly's back as he was dumped by Turnbull up to Kindrachuk. Tries to get it through to Zaleski, but it's taken away by Turnbull. He rips it into the Flyer zone, and Jimmy Watson there to drive it down the ice. Half a minute left. The Flyers have been strong. Now here comes McLeish out with Bridgman along with Daly, and it's Luke Pellick over the line to Lanny McDonald. Almost taken off, and Rick McLeish up at center ice. Almost had a break as the Leafs were behind the play. Now Salming at center. Works a screen past Sittler. And here comes Thompson. Hit the outside of the net. He's out in front again, and McLeish takes it away. Centering pass is taken away by Bridgman. Out at the line, but kept in on the near side by Salming, who falls. 1 second left in the penalty, and it's out to Bridgman, who comes with Bob Kelly, but Pellick makes a game-saving play. As Kelly on the far side has it deflect into the neutral zone to McLeish over the line to Kelly. Kelly a drive wide of Palmatier, and it deflects to the far side and cleared but not out by the Leafs. First try, the second try to Sittler, rolls it back to Errol Thompson, who comes up at center. Right wing at the Flyer line to McDonald. He looks tired, can't handle it, and it's played down the ice to McLeish. McLeish looking for Reg Leach over the Leaf line. Going to cut right out in front, and he had the puck go behind to Bob Kelly. Looks for a stopper on the short side, and we get a stoppage of play as Palmatier hugs on for dear life with 9:33 remaining in the first overtime.
Kelly and Darryl Sittler almost go at it as Kelly had one of the Leafs on his back, who's now down. I think it's Mike Pellick. And Pellick wouldn't let go, and Kelly kept fighting to get free of him. Finally did, and then took a punch in the mouth from Darryl Sittler for his troubles. And the booze, of course, reserved for the Hound as he goes back to the Flyers bench. Kelly trying to go for a short side stuffer. This young Palmatier, very heady for a rookie as he's guarding those posts ever so tightly.
All right, we've got McLeish out with Kelly and Leach. The right side, Bladen and Joe Watson. Ferguson on the line with Neely, number 3, and Boutet, 15. And now the Flyers bring out Rick Lapointe to replace Bob Kelly on the wing. Carlisle back with Pellick, and the Flyers have an extra man on there, and Bruce said, get him off, Kelly. Now Kelly's coming back on, and they say no. I think that was just, now let's see. I think they just wanted Lapointe out there to spell Kelly for a minute. Now Bruce said no change. So the Flyers have a wing out there that they may not want. Now McLeish going to try to draw back the Leach, who's in the slot, but it goes behind where Pellick has it. Looks to clear it down the ice, and that'll be an icing as quickly as Joe Watson gets to it right now.
So the faceoff will be deep in the Toronto zone, in the circle to the left of Palmatier. Now the Flyers will be able to ice Bob Kelly, who's on. McLeish is on. Leach will be on, and the defensive duo of Tom Bladen and Joe Watson.
Well, the Leafs aren't using Hammerstrom, and they're not using Bollinger as Bernie Pratt looks on, or Hammerstrom. So they're playing literally as short as the Flyers are. Now Palmatier up on the near side to Boutet. Boutet down the ice, Ferguson at the Flyer line, but Bladen cuts across on the left side to pick it off. Look through into the Leaf zone, blocked off smartly by Carlisle. Up to Boutet, flips it in the Flyer zone from center ice to the left of Stevenson. Follows after Joe Watson, who's up on the near side to Bob Kelly. Kelly at his left wing through to McLeish, who can't handle it. Rolls to Carlisle at center ice. Back into the Flyer zone, and Boutet jams it down behind Stevenson. Ashby goes in. Joe Watson around the far side to McLeish. Tips it up ice to Leach. And they've got Kelly and McLeish and Leach over the line. They try to feed to Kelly, and the pass was deflected near side. There was the opportunity to win it. 3-on-1, and they couldn't get the pass. On the near side, McLeish trying to tie up Boutet, who just slides at the center. 3-on-1, Leach, Kelly, and McLeish. Now Bridgman behind the net. Tries to come out in front. Jammed off by Carlisle. Now they overlook the puck. as it's played by Turnbull to Boutet. Boutet to center ice. Waiting for the Flyers to clear the zone as Jimmy Watson fires it in. Corner, Karams to Palmateer. Turnbull behind the net. Pass Zaleski, who's got him wrapped up. You have to be careful. Stops. Zaleski drops off as Ashby is out there now with Neely and Boutet. Pass to center ice as Turnbull looks tired. Knocked into the zone by Jimmy Watson. Carlisle behind the net. Pivots away from Watson and Zaleski and shoots at the center ice. Bladen waits for Zaleski to clear the zone. Flips it in shallow on the near side, and Carlisle will be able to get it out. Up ice, here comes Ashby with Boutet on his right. Over the line. Wants to cut through the defense. Drop pass right in front of the net. Was picked off by Jimmy Watson. Up ice. Two of the Flyers, and here they've got a 2-on-1. Bridgman over the line, going in. A drive, blocked. Zaleski can't get the rebound as he fell down, and it's played by Ashby up ice. Taken off by Jimmy Watson. To the leaf line for Zaleski, who turns. Can't get past Neely. Neely through at the Flyer line. He's got McDonald with him over the line. Drop back to the point. Salming will roll it into the corner. Taken off by the Flyers. Bobby Clark. Marvelous game. Here comes Clark. He wanted to get it up ice to Zaleski, who skated off, and so what would be a headman pass turns out to be an icing. 7:16 remaining in the first overtime, tied at 5.
Grabbing Abbott's, grabbing Abbott's, grabbing Abbott's, it's ice cream to go. Grabbing Abbott's, grabbing Abbott's, grabbing Abbott's, grabbing Abbott's, grabbing Abbott's, it's ice cream to go.
Twin Pops, Twirl Cups, Bunch Bars,
King Cones, Cream Sticks, Superstars.
And only pennies a pop.
Grabbing Abbott's, it's ice cream to go.
Grabbing Abbott's.
This game right now is only 72 minutes, 44 seconds long, the longest overtime game, and we're a long way away from it. 116 minutes, 30 seconds. Detroit against the Montreal Maroons back 41 years ago, 1936.
Turnbull obviously tired as this spot on the left side of Salming taken by Pellick, who they have McDonald, Williams, and Sittler out against Clark, Holmgren and Barber, Bladen and Joe Watson to the right of Stevenson. Every draw so important. If you get it back to one of those point men through a screen, and it could end it. Matt Pavlich wants Sittler and Clark set up properly. He's talking to them. Puck is dropped right at their feet, taken by Holmgren. It doesn't go up ice, goes behind his net to Tom Bladen. Holes there as the Leafs playing every man up. McDonald making a run at Bladen, who tries to lift it out along the near side, kept in by Williams. Williams is tripped up. The Leafs try to get it on the near side, but it goes to Clark. And Clark away to Holmgren, tipped away from him. And Lanny McDonald now tripped up as Clark goes down. Barber ties it up to Joe Watson. Watson through into the Leaf zone, taken over the line by Holmgren. Holmgren wants to send it back, and it's taken away from Clark. As Sittler looks up ice for McDonald. He's got a 4-on-2 over the line. McDonald, top of the right wing circle. A drive, blocked behind the net. Sittler looks to center, and he fans on it. They give it away to McDonald. Short side shot, blocked again by Barber and Clark, who has the puck on the near side. Up ice to Tom Bladen. It comes to the Leaf line. Fires over wide of Palmateer as the Flyers want to make a line change, and they scoot two broken sticks out of the Leaf end. Now up ice it comes to Sittler too far. Jimmy Watson has it on his own left wing. Holds as Sittler skates by and starts back through to McLeish over the line. McLeish tries to get it to Leach, spun around by Williams. Williams looks to get it up ice. It'll be icing if the Flyers get there first, but McDonald, who's really winded now, is beaten wide margin by Jimmy Watson for an icing with 6:04 remaining in overtime, tied at 5.
Conditioning and stamina is going to make a big difference in this game as we go further along into sudden death overtime. And it's going to be a case of shorter and shorter shifting by both coaches. Red Kelly behind the Toronto bench as Randy Carlisle goes over for a breather. Fred Shiro behind the Flyers bench. There's the Great Leaf Wall. It stops all. Where is it?
Flyers' longest overtime game came in their first year as they went 31 minutes and 18 seconds of overtime, went 11-18 into the second overtime period before Don Blackburn scored for their 2-1 win at St. Louis. That tied that series at 3. Way back in April of 1968. Turnbull looks up ice. Sends it away to Thompson, who's dangerous. Through at the Flyer line. Fires one in from there. Stevenson gloves it. Drops behind for Joe Watson. Up along the far board to McLeish. Rolls it into center ice. Salming gets it to Thompson, who turns, tries to put pressure on from center ice shot. Stevenson gloves. Of course, every shot, even the routine ones, they go ooh and ah now. One slip, one good play, one deflection, One error, that's all over. Thompson in his own right wing offensive corner. Behind the net. Digging it out, looking to center. Has no, but yes, he has Salming at the near point. Looking through a screen. Wide up to the Turnbull, the far side. He drives one in on the net. Marvelous save. Rebound just through on the near side as Thompson was there and couldn't get his stick down. Now McLeish loses it behind the net as he was set up in front, and Stevenson takes the weak pass from behind by Ferguson and sits on it. Oh, Errol Thompson had the game won and couldn't get his stick down.
Referee Bruce Hood almost got an assist or what could have been the game winner as he got right in the middle of the traffic, and McLeish was trying to go around him but couldn't do it. Joe Watson went out. McLeish trying to go around Bruce Hood, but he just froze on the spot and almost caused problems around the Flyers' net. We've got 5:08 left in the first sudden death overtime. The score is tied at 5.
All right, they've got Ashby, Neely, and back to the point. Watch Pelech wind up through a screen. Brock out to the blue line, kept in by Carlisle, throws it right into the slot. And wide to the far side, the Daly, and away to center ice. 5 minutes left in overtime. Carlisle dumps it in, and we have an offside as Ashby hadn't cleared out on the far wing yet.
Trying to quickly leaf through the Stanley Cup record book to see if we can pick up the longest overtime game that Toronto has been involved in, and I'm sure there are many. Okay, Gene.
The longest, 104 minutes, 46 seconds. April 3, 1933, when they beat Boston 1-0. All right, Ashby up, fires it from center ice. Stevenson sticks it, leaves it off for Jimmy Watson. Finds an opening up to Kindrachuk, who can't get it out. Kept in by Carlisle. Into the near corner, Boutet. Boutet pulled down by Jimmy Watson. And remember, you got to do really something drastic to pick up penalties in overtime. And they jam it up in the corner left of Stevenson. And now Boutet's looking over at Bruce Hood and saying, why not?
When we talk of the longest overtime, of course, including regulation time as part of it. Now, 104 minutes would be 60 minutes regulation time plus 44 minutes, which would be into the third overtime period. The puck goes to the Flyers' backboard. It could have caused some problems defensively for the Flyers, but it was whistled down.
All right, still Ashby with Neely and Boutet. Carlisle with Pelech, and the Flyers go Daly with Jimmy Watson and Bridgman with Kindrachuk and Selesky. 4:36 remaining. They keep playing till somebody bangs one home. After every 20-minute period, we clean the ice and go at it again. The play has been of unusual quality here. The Flyers getting by far the greater number of chances on Palmateer. Now Jimmy Watson tied up behind the net by Ashby. Gets it up to Bridgman on the near side, away to Kindrachuk at center ice. Wants to get past Carlisle, does. A drive, and Palmateer the good save. Now Daly with a screen, fires it over the top of the net to the near side. Bridgman tries to dump it in. Boutet knocked down. Bridgman tries to fight past Carlisle. Gets up. Tied up by Carlisle. Puck right out in front to Kindrachuk. Shot right through on the wide side past Pelech. Behind from Selesky to Kindrachuk. Centers out in front to Kindrachuk again. Out in front again from Bridgman, and the Leafs ice it. Racing after it, but it's all a half step slower now. Touching up Jimmy Watson. Icing with 3:55 remaining in the first overtime, tied at 5.
You're right, Gene. 60 plus 104. That would have been 164 minutes, which would have been very close. I think about 12 minutes away from the longest game.
Well, I think, let's see, 176 minutes was just, and a half was just 2.5 minutes shy of 3 full games.
And that ended somewhere in the vicinity of 2:34 in the next morning.
Modare Madre Bunato scored. I think the goaltender for the Tiny Thompson in there. Imagine going 2:30 in the morning, playing almost 3 games, and it's only 1-0.
Yeah, that was the only goal of the game.
All right. Clark out there with Barber and Holmgren, Bladen and Joe Watson. Out to the point, Bladen can't keep it in. Williams, Sittler, and McDonald, as the Flyers will get whistled on delay unless the Leafs bring it up. Turnbull at center. Now over the red line, fires it in off the glove of Bladen to the near side. Joe Watson taken out by Sittler. They fight for it in the near side, cleared up to Salming. Salming blocks it to the near side. Sittler again trying to fight past Joe Watson, but it's Barber trying to get out. No place to put the puck, and finally Clark slides it along the near side. As nobody wants to get it. Here comes Williams. Flips it into the corner right of Stevenson. Joe Watson is there. Looks up for Holmgren. Plays it off his stick to the point. Turnbull is shot, and that hits his own winger, McDonald, and comes to center. Turnbull now from Salming over the line to McDonald. tips it through looking for Sittler. Joe Watson will be there. Tries to get it out on the near side, and it does. It skips past Salming, rolling right wide of the net. They signal icing, and that's what the call will be with 3:03 left in the first overtime, tied at 5. And we have an Islander score change.
And the Islanders gone up, out in front again over the Buffalo Sabres, 4-3, and I've got to figure that's still in the second, late in the second, or to be early in the third. Started at 8 o'clock. It should be early in the third. 4-3, the Islanders over Buffalo in a game that seesawed back and forth. The Sabres facing elimination in that series if they can't pull one out tonight.
All right, Clark, Barber, Holmgren, Daly, and Jimmy Watson, Sittler, Williams, McDonald, Turnbull, and Salming. To the left of Stevenson. Turnbull wants to get it into the slot to McDonald. They can't. It's played behind the net by Barber to Jimmy Watson. Far corner to Daly. Up smartly to Holmgren, and it rides out in the center ice as Turnbull had drifted back a stride to protect. Now the Leafs come over the line away from Barber. Right in front, there's Tiger Williams. A shot, and Clark slid into the net as Stevenson was out to block any chance that might come in on. Here comes Barber back against Salming. Over the line, overskates the puck. Can't make a play, and back come the Leafs. At center, Turnbull tries to shove it past Clark. Can't. Clark up to Sittler. Bumps him down with a good check as Turnbull has it at the Leaf line. Starts up to our left. Over the line. Trying to get in past Holmgren is Sittler. Centering pass in front to Jimmy Watson. Clears it back to the far corner. Deflects to Bob Daly and away to Holmgren. Holmgren at center, chased by McKinney. Over the Leaf line. He cuts in, tries to hit Barber. Now he's got a shot. Blocked by Salming. To the far side, Holmgren gives it away. And the Leafs break out. Here comes Ferguson with McKinney 2-on-1. Ferguson in a drive over the top of the net as he got underneath it. And Bob Kelly is grabbed by Tiger Williams as the puck kept in by the Leafs. And then they flex out to Leach, away to McLeish. Back to Leach. Leach is going to be on a breakaway drive. Hit the outside of the net. To Kelly. Kelly goes behind to McLeish, who can't handle the puck. Around to Tiger Williams, and he ices it. Oh, marvelous play here in the overtime. Bite your fingernails and hang on as the Leafs are whistled for icing with 1:34 remaining in the first overtime, tied at 5.
Oh, mercy sakes. Mercy sakes. Talk about nail biting. I won't have any nails left if this type of a series continues. That go-ahead goal by the New York Islanders off the stick of Bill McMillan from, the Buffalo score. McMillan for the Islanders, Robert for Buffalo. 4-3, that's in the third period of play. The Islanders in front.
Ferguson out there with McKinney and Neely, and the one goes in on Palmetier, works up to the near side. Now trying to get it out as McKinney, kept in by Leach, who's out there with McLeish and Kelly as Randy Carlyle up ice to McKinney, looking for Ferguson on the break. Too far, the length of the ice, touched up by Bladen, and we have an icing again for the Leafs, or against the Leafs, with 1:18 remaining in the first overtime. Shots, I would think, Don, are heavily in favor of the Flyers this period, but they really don't mean anything unless you pump one in.
That's all it takes. Sudden death, or as the sign man said the other night when McLeish scored at 2:55 of the first sudden death overtime, sudden light. And, of course, this is where goaltenders make their money, because they're the last line of defense, and they're the ones that everyone look at if the puck gets in sudden death overtime.
Carlisle behind the net, out there with Pellick, and they have Ferguson. The Leafs just throw it away to center. Bladen has it on the far side, tries to clear it in, tied up, and the Leafs take it away. Roll it too far for Thompson. His pass up to Leach. Tries to kick it away, and here come the Leafs 2-on-1. Ferguson, shot blocked. He gets it back. Rolls it in on the net. Blocked off by McLeish. Oh, here come the Flyers. Leach with Kelly, 3-on-2 over the line. Winds up, drive, score! Reggie Leach! And the Flyers in a remarkable comeback win it 6-5.
Another bullet from the same spot that Leach scored his first goal back at 11:21 of the middle period. A bullet with Kelly setting up the screen, and this one is suddenly over for the Flyers. It's 19:10 of sudden death overtime. Leach from McLeish, and the Flyers win it 6-5 and even the series at 2 games apiece. They now have regained the home ice advantage. Leach with Kelly along the boards. Hughes Pellick went inside of him, went to the far side, and beat Mike Palmetier We'll look at it again from a different angle as Palmateer gets the glove hand up. It dips under the glove hand, low to the far side, and it's 6-5 final. A sudden death overtime goal by Reg Leach, his second of the game and second of the series, with McLeish picking up an assist. Final score, Flyers 5, the Leafs 4. We'll be back with tonight's recap right after these messages.
Terry, there's one way to sum it all up. It was the greatest comeback I think I've ever seen in hockey. I cannot believe this hockey team, because I'll tell you, I'll bet you Barry must have jumped through the roof in his bed after that, because it was just, honest to God, Terry, you know what it's like. You played a lot of years. I've never seen anything like it. Unbelievable.
Mike Ashcan, I hope he has a change of pajamas. You don't know those ones are wet with sweat when they've been rolling around in there. Mike, the other night, 38 seconds past history. Ricky McLeish did it. Overtime, Ricky McLeish did it again. Tonight our fellas come out. 3 fellas out of the lineup. Mike, you've seen it tonight. Referee Bruce Hood giving it to us all evening. I don't know if it's allowed on TV or not. I'm not just too sure of all the intricacies, but all night long we were taking it. The fella just kept coming back and coming back.
That's what makes it so great, Terry, because, you know, here we're down 2, you know, with losing Moose DuPont on defense, and then Lonsberry and Dornhopper, who have really just played super, you know, and we had to go with fellas that didn't play much, and geez, they just worked their butts off. I mean, this is what you really want to see in that. And I think, you know, this kind of thing like this here, I really believe that, you know, we could really go all the way with this hockey team. I mean, that's super.
Mike, the Leafs noticed me getting tired in that overtime, very definitely. Our fellas were taking it to them, checking them. You've seen it, I've seen it. The Leafs have gone with mainly 6, 7 players. They've got to be tired. We come up here down 2 games. We now go home. Even in the series, we've regained the home ice advantage for what it's worth, if you let it be worth it what it is. Our fellas in and now are happy. What do you look for in our game back home?
Well, I think, Terry, what we'll do when we get back home, we know Toronto's going to go that same boring game. They're just going to line up at their blue line, wait for you to dump it in. They're just going to get it. They're going to loft it out of there, and this is what they want. They're going to wait for a break. They're going to hope maybe we'll get a penalty and they'll score on a power play. But I think the way we've got it now, we've been doing it pretty good. We're just sort of timing it in there. Their defensemen are just timing it in where the forwards are on the move, and they're getting right on top of their defensemen. And I think that's going to be the key in our next game at home, Terry.
Mike, we've worked in our practices. You worked along with all of our forwards on our power play. This whole series and all 4 games, power plays have been the crucial things. The Leafs have done a lot of damage to us on the way they've worked theirs. We've worked on ours. Are we going to change our system any in our power plays anymore?
I really think it's too late, Terry. Our biggest thing with our power play, the way I look at it, is we guys have got to shoot the puck when they get it. I mean, when they have the time, they should be shooting it. Our guys should be going in front of the net. And it's up to the point when they get the puck through. That's a key thing. I think that's been the only difference between our power play and the Leaf power play. Every time you notice that Turnbull, he just turns around and shoots. He doesn't even look where the net is, and normally it's on the net or it's through. And their players are just right there. They have Williams in front of the net. It's the same with us. We have Dornhopper in front of the net. I think this has got to be the key on the power play, to get a man in front of the net, in front of Palmateer, and we'll score goals, Terry.
Mike, just before we say goodbye, I want you to clear up one thing for our fans at home. Moose DuPont, Gary Dornhopper, Ross Lonsberry. How will our penalties affect them? Are they all right for the next game?
They'll be all right for the next game, Terry. Matter of fact, they could still get another couple of game misconducts, and they'll be all right. It's the 3rd game misconduct, and then that's when you get another game tacked on. But everything was wiped out, and this makes it. That's not the roof falling in. That's just some angry fan, I think. But that's what it'll be. The boys will be all right. And I know it was tough out there because they really looked like they were getting a tough break out there a lot of times. And but I think we've learned to accept that in the last 4 or 5 years. And it's just something we're going to have to live with. The way I look at it, what's this, the 4th game in a row now? We've got the first penalty call against us, and I think that's the way it's going to be in the whole series.
Mike, the wrap-up sign, thank you very much. We'll be right back after this commercial with Gene Hart and 2 of the players from the Flyers. Join them.
Got one of the thrills of their life. How many times have you given up on them and they come back?
Never, I'll tell you. Not this club. They just hang in there, don't they?
Keith and Ed, let me go to you because you're the technical end of it. What is it about this building in playoffs where our players seem to lose poise?
Well, I don't know. I think partly it's the referee. And I don't want to get on this subject again, but I think that they get so frustrated with the refereeing at times that they do take the odd foolish penalty, and they do lose their composure once in a while. That happened, I think, in the first game here last year. But I don't think they lost their composure tonight. I think that I think they were very frustrated, and finally they got the thing straightened away and come back in the end of that 3rd period.
I guess after all these years, things shouldn't thrill you, but that one tonight has to.
It's a funny thing. We were coming down the game tonight, and Ed said that There's going to be Bobby Clark and Reggie Leach's night, and I guess he called it, didn't he?
Hey, I'm going to put you on the spot now. I heard somebody say before we went on, what time was left when you left? You didn't leave, did you?
No, I didn't leave. I just left my seat. I got up. All the people were screaming and yelling, and they were so thrilled when they threw out Dorney and Lonsberry, and I got a little bit emotional, you might say, and I jumped out of my seat and I came down and I was in the tunnel where the Zamboni comes out, and we scored the goal, so I wouldn't leave there for the overtime. I stayed there.
Would you do one thing for me? It happens every time I walk down 35 flights and put my foot on the ground floor, we score, and I got to go back up to the roof, and the escalators are going the wrong way. Could you get the escalator? I mean, you're a governor.
I'm going to tell you what to do, Gene. Since we score every time you come down, I'm going to have you running up and down the whole game.
Well, I could last maybe one series. Keith, I thought the defensemen were particularly marvelous in the late stages in the overtime with Rick LaPointe not playing much and the DuPont gone, so they had to go 4 defensemen in a hot building, and I thought they were at their best in the last period.
No doubt about it. They played tremendously well. I just was in the dressing room there a couple minutes ago and talking to Joe Watson. Of course, he's the senior member of the defense, and he said he was so tired, but you know, as tired as he was, he never gave an inch, and he battled along the boards there a couple times with Lanny McDonald and the guys, and as we said before, this club has got a lot of character and a lot of guts, and they just showed it tonight.
There's some comment made in the air, and we read a letter by a fellow named Adio Santori about maybe the Flyer fans not as exuberant as they've been in the past. I've got to think that they got to explode Tuesday.
Well, I think they really have a lot to cheer about now. It's been a long time since we've been down, 2-0 in a quarterfinal, and I really think the fans appreciate what's happened in these 2 overtime games, and I just want to say, Gene, that there's an accolade to the entire team. Wayne Stevenson coming out of nowhere and playing that long a game, twice in a row. That's remarkable, I think, and I really think the whole team shows phenomenal character.
Knowing how you think, one of the things that has to thrill you, regardless of how this series goes, it's such a marvelous series, and I'm sure you would be one to say it's too bad all of North America can't see these games.
Well, that's for sure, but I'm glad the people in Philadelphia can, because they're the people who support us, and that's who this team's playing for.
All right, my guests have been Bingo Allen to my left and Slasher Snyder to my right. And you ready, guys? Here we go. For you, first of all, Abbott's, the oldest dairy in the ice cream capital of the world, present you a year's supply of smooth and creamy ice cream. It's so smooth and so creamy it feels good. You get that because Joyce says he's a little overweight.
I don't think I can handle it.
And for you, because you're dapper, we've got the Morton's gift certificate. That's 3 centers in the Bucks County Mall in Feasterville, PA, and the Cardiff Shopping Center in Pleasantville, and in the Ellisburg Shopping Center in Cherry Hill. And I know you 2 guys at a time like this tonight could have used a set of magic markers to scribble. They've got the broad and fine tip pens, amateur. Half the ice cream for part of Morton's. Okay, so whatever. We'll come back with Don Earl for one of the really thrilling Flyer games of all time, the recap and the highlights of the National Hockey League scoreboard after we pause for this.